Yeah.
Take a break inside of your head to get a hold of yourself. But it's over now. I was missing everything and I forgot I felt. So many days I found, many questions I have I can answer myself. And I just don't know how to make it right. Instead I live with things I never would tell. Never tell. All the good and bad things quickly pass me by. I don't know what I miss till I open my eyes. And I can see it all. I can feel it all again. Hope I don't lose control. And repeat this all again.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Both Ends of the Table. Thank you to everyone that's tuning in right now. And let me just say that with so much going on in the world, we all need a place to let it out. Whether you're frustrated with your boss, going through it at home, or just hurting because your team lost this past weekend. If you find that this is you, then you are in the right place. Because here we encourage you to be bold enough to talk, bold enough to say what's on your mind. Doesn't matter if you're right, doesn't matter if you're wrong. It matters that you said it. You stepped out on that skinny branch, and for that, we thank you. That's our mission. That's our message. It's Tuesday, January 20th, 2026, and you are now rocking with the Bet Boys. We're live on YouTube. All voices are welcome, so jump in the conversation anytime. I am your host, Stevie J, and to my right, my guy, my co host, the balance of this show, and the voice of reason, Cisco. And with that said, welcome to the table.
Oh, welcome everybody. Welcome. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Just like Stevie said, greatly appreciate it. Getting the views, the interactions, so that way we could get both ends of the table.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And how are you doing, my friend?
Man, cannot complain. Had Monday off, so chillax a little bit. So it was pretty good. Pretty good. How about yourself?
Oh, it's been a good week so far, sort of, kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Baseball season kick back up. That's why I'm rocking the hat. So we started the winter workouts here yesterday, Monday night. So we're back at the fields all over again. Got to meet up with the old parents and see what everyone's been up to these past couple of weeks since we've been off. And so um, that, and then just getting in my steps, working towards getting, striving to get my 10,000 steps a day this year. And so was able to do that yesterday while we were there at Incarnate Word. We're able to. They have the football field that was open, and so I was able to walk the track and think I did like 2.5 miles yesterday. So it's pretty good. We had a good night, and then unfortunately this morning I show up to work, and then the school calls, and Caleb was throwing up at school, so I had to go pick him up and bring him home. And I didn't know this, but whenever they're throwing up like that, they can't go back to school for 24 hours or for like an additional 24 hours.
Wow.
So yeah, so he's got to be off tomorrow too, and
You're
yeah, he
like
can't.
you're like I picked him up at 10. He's going back at 11.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but he has to miss the whole day entirely, they
Yeah,
said.
that's crazy.
I was like, "Damn," I know that's like that at daycares, like daycare when you drop your kid off, if they run a fever, they gotta be 24 hours fever free, but then when they hit me with the whole, "Hey,
Keep
you
him
gotta
home.
miss school," it's like, alright, like,
Yeah,
that
that's weird.
sucks.
Yeah.
So,
That's weird.
I called the wife and I was like, "Hey, you're gonna have to figure something out because I can't miss work tomorrow." I cannot miss work tomorrow. That's an important day for me. So,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
for sure,
So I
man.
was like, hey, we're gonna have to do something, man. But yeah,
Hopefully
other
it
than
gets
that,
better,
it's
man.
been pretty good.
Hopefully it gets better, cause that sucks.
He already is better. What you talking about? I picked him up and he looked better. I picked him up and this dude looked like nothing was wrong with him. I was like, bro, you're not even sick. Dad, I don't feel good though, Dad. I threw up. Like, yeah, you threw up, but I mean, brother, you know how many times you've thrown up in the past and you just walk away? Like me,
Yeah.
on the other hand, dude, if I go, I'm down. At bare minimum 24 hours. If I throw up, I'm done. You
Yeah,
can
I
take me
hate
out.
throwing up. I
Yeah, you
hate
take me
it.
out. I'm done. But him on the other hand, bro, he can just blip and he's right back at it. Like nothing ever happened. I remember what was it? In the spring, towards the end, the spring season, last game of the season, we're up in Austin and dude, it's hot. It's like 100 degrees outside. They're like on their second game or third game, whatever it was for the day. And he's out there playing third base. And then I just see this kid just blip. And I was like, what the hell? And it's just water. I mean, just completely dehydrated, right? And so they take him out, cool him off, I mean, clearly it was heat exhaustion, but they cool him off. He drinks a Gatorade, sips on it here and there, whatever. And I'm not even joking, bro. Like 20 minutes later, this kid's like revitalized, everything. Like he is back up and rolling, and he's like, Coach, let me in. Let me in. And I'm like,
Put me a
bro,
coach.
what? How do you do that?
Dude, it's like those football players. I'm sure you've seen them where like right before a play they're vomiting and then boom, right back in that play. It's like crazy.
Dude. I'm like, bro, I don't know how in the hell they do that, man. But hey, more power to them, dude. More power
Yeah.
to them. So, but whew, man, what do you say we get into talking about some of these playoff matchups and divisional rounds? I mean, well, first off, it would be retarded for us not to call out this college national championship game, Indiana versus Miami, in which Indiana comes out on top. So I just want to kind of get your personal thoughts on the game real quick. What did you think about that Indiana versus Miami game last night?
Nah, I mean it was definitely like a great game throughout. It wasn't a blowout on either side, so it was definitely pretty good. There was a stat that I saw where Fernando Mendoza had -8 rushing yards, but still a rushing touchdown, which I was like, "Whoa!"
Hey,
which
that
I,
boy had that stretch, dude. That woo.
yeah, which I mean, you know how that can happen, but to see that like in a stat line, it's like, how does that happen? But that was definitely interesting. But no, I mean, it was definitely a great game throughout. But I think going into to next season, I think a lot of eyes are going to be on Signetti, on if he could make a no 5-star recruit team look good again, because they had no 5-star recruits on this team and only two 4-star recruits, right? So
Mhm.
obviously with this whole like NIL thing, it's like try to get as much talent as we can, right? But he did it with no talent, sort of say, right? So now I think schools and teams should look at it different, like, hey, you don't need talent to win, right? Now let's let coaching do our job. Because um, I heard I heard something where it's taking getting all this talent is kind of taking the coaching out of it, because you're getting all these star players and whatnot, building that team with the studded crew, but it's taking the coaching out of it. And I think Segnetti brought that back in. Now schools can see we don't have to spend a lot of money to win a championship, right? But I think going forward, now with that being said, a lot of eyes will be looking at him going into the future if he could still make that happen, right? Because I think a lot of schools will be drawn to that. If he can, then hey, we don't need to spend all this money to get all this talent in here, you know. Um, but man, definitely looking at that, and also will some of his coaches get some better job opportunities, right? Going to be a coach somewhere else or what have you, right? So that's something to look out for. But definitely watch out for the Big Ten, because 3 straight years they won that national championship. So it's you got Michigan, Ohio State, now Indiana. So definitely watch out for that Big Ten. Right, it was previously the SEC was a powerhouse. Now I think it's ties are moving over to towards the Big Ten. I don't know your thoughts on that, but
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, there's definitely the talk about, with the Big Ten obviously winning the last three. There's definitely talk about whether or not the SEC is still as, dominant of a conference as it used to be. Cause, for years it's always been the SEC, even though a lot of it was Saban. But, you go back to just, with LSU and everybody else that's in there too. It's like it's always been about the SEC. And obviously recently now that's not the case. Um, but yeah, for sure. I mean, for the chat, though, we just want to kind of get your opinion real quick on if you think that Indiana can repeat as champions next season. I think that's going to be the topic right here. That's the question: is can they repeat as champion next season? Now, you mentioned something earlier with there's going to be a lot of eyes on whether or not Signetti can do this again, and you got to think that he was in this same position last season, right? Last season, he was coming up the ranks. There was all this talk about, hey, well, why aren't we in? Because they were potentially going to leave them out. And they were kind of worried, like, hey, yeah, you're winning all these games, but how are you going to fare against stiff competition? And I think they went up against Ohio State. They got blitzed or something of that nature. And then, the fire kind of got burnt out on them last season. And so when they got bounced out of the playoffs, I believe in the first round or whatever it was, um, it was like, okay, well, the fairy tale story is coming to an end. It was a one and done type of season, and then he follows up by picking up a guy like Fernando Mendoza and pulls in all these recruits and gets all these guys into the organization, and then is able to repeat what he did last year, and this time only come back with a vengeance. I mean, going all the way, taking the championship game, winning it, and really towards the end, if you look at the last few games that they played, I mean, they annihilated their competitions. They didn't just win by 37-34 or 28-21. Like these were blowouts against some of the top leading teams.
yeah,
Whether it was the SEC or whether it was a Big Ten contender, they were just blowing everybody out of the water. Um, so I think he can definitely do it because I think he can definitely repeat it because again, like you said, there was no five-star recruits on this team, and look at where he got them, which goes to show you just the type of coaching talent that he does have, or that he has with him, that he's capable of. And so, I think with the right mindset, which is what Signetti has, I think he'll get back to the championship game next year too. Um, but especially just because of, dude, how much money that Indiana alumni has. That was something that a lot of people didn't realize until this season. They
yeah,
have a massive amount of money through that alumni.
yeah.
I think we got our first comment here. It says, maybe tough with NIL and kids signing all over. Other teams may catch lightning in a bottle. And it's because of the NIL that you could easily argue that's why that they can go back, right? Because especially when you have a winning organization like this, since Signetti has come through, people want to become a part of that trend. You know, it's the same way with Alabama. When Alabama started winning all these championships, well, guess where everybody wants to go to school at? How many people jumped ship to Alabama because of that NIL? They were going to get paid more because of that. And even before the NIL money, they were jumping ship just because they knew it was a winning organization. They wanted to be a part of a winning program.
Yeah.
Um, but
And the
yeah, I mean,
chances of drafted, go higher with a team like that.
yeah, but definitely some teams to look out for. Obviously Notre Dame, we still expect them to be a tough opponent. Texas, right? Texas is recruiting a lot of these five-star recruits. They've landed a couple of hot commodities in the transfer portal just recently. So they're retooling. Um LSU, let's see what happens with Lane Kiffin. Let's see how he's able to get them going. Ole Miss, even though they lost Lane Kiffin, I mean, they were still competitive. I don't know what it's going to look like this coming year. I know that Chambliss was trying to go back another season, but unfortunately, he's not going to be able to. So he's going to have to hit the draft. So we'll see who comes up behind him. But yeah, I mean, there's still quite a bit of teams that are still out there that are still going to be very competitive and going to be some tough outs, I think, this coming season.
for sure,
So
100%.
So yeah, but anyways, man, congrats to the Indiana Hoosiers because you guys are first time champions ever. And Coach Sig, man, they're calling it the Sig 10 now, not the Big 10, the Sig 10, baby.
Uh,
What's up?
there, I heard also too, Cincinnati for the Natty Championship.
Hell yeah, bro. Dude, he's
Shoot,
ruthless, dude. You see his when they're on the sideline and something happens and he sits there and stares at the camera, just
yeah.
like when they block that punt, he's just almost like he's looking at you at home, like, I told you this was gonna happen. I told you. But anyways, man, congrats to them. Fernando Mendoza, man, most likely surefire first round draft pick. You are a Las Vegas Raider, my friend. But
Yeah.
speaking of the NFL, right? So let's get into these divisional round matchups. Obviously, right? There were some definite heartbreaks this past weekend. Nothing compared to like what we got from the wild card weekend in terms of just overall, just like awesome, super highlighted, great games. Everyone was excited, everyone's happy, unless your team lost. In this case here, I feel like the whole world was just let down this week. I mean, great games, but my God, just the refs just had to figure out a way to like piss us off. I think they pissed the world off, unless you're the team that won. Unless you're the team that won, right? And so let's go ahead and let's go and address the elephant in the room, right? Which is the Brandon Cooks catch. So I want to get your thoughts and opinions on whether or not you thought, was it a catch? Is it not a catch? And in your version, what would be considered a catch? The floor
So
is yours, my friend.
got a long monologue here for that segment you got.
Is that a science textbook from
No, that's
school?
my son's journal. Super Mario Bros.
Damn. Hey, why don't you hit that focus button so that way I can get you centered out on there, pimp. Ah,
There
there
you
it
go.
goes. Let that camera
Some
follow it. Tell us a story, baby. I like how it's zooming in right now. Tell us a story.
um,
Like that.
so I mean about that catch. So I mean, at first glance, you think it's a catch, right? But you see both players fighting for that ball when they're coming down,
Okay.
right? Now, in my opinion, I think either call would have been right, whether if it was a pick or a catch. I think it both would have been right,
Okay.
right? So that one was a hard judgment one to call, right? But I think it could have gone either way. If it got caught the other way, I wouldn't have been mad. Caught this way, wouldn't have been mad.
Hmm.
But this whole catch thing, it wouldn't have to come down to this if there wasn't four turnovers in regulation,
Yeah.
or if Allen doesn't miss his throw and a wide open Knox. I don't know if you saw that for that go ahead touchdown that he had to Knox, he totally missed him, overthrew him, wide open.
Hmm.
Right now, I know I know we're on the catch, but like I said, I have this whole monologue here for that. Right, so you got the four turnovers in regulation. You got
Yeah,
him
but
missing.
let's talk about the catch though. We're not talking about the four turnovers.
Okay,
We can get into that a little bit later, but let's just zero in solely on the catch.
okay.
Was it a catch or was it not a catch?
Think either
That's
call is right. Either call is right
either
because they're
call.
both fighting for the ball. They're both fighting for the ball as they're coming down.
Right.
And
I would agree with
what
that.
you can't see enough definitively is if there's possession or no possession. You can't see that clear as day.
I would beg to
That's
differ. I think that you can see that he's got possession. He's got it tucked to his chest. Now,
It
Now
I mean, to,
the defender's hand is squeezed inside there at the same time. And so you have to understand that the way that the NFL rule book operates on is that in the event where it is like a 50-50 grab where both the offensive player and the defender come down with the ball at the same time, that is rewarded to the offensive side. And that's where I
but
think that's where I think it's drawing a lot of speculation and a lot of controversy is because they both technically come down with it. It's just that the defender pulls it out afterwards. And what's shocking is that there's been numerous of examples that have happened just recently before that game, not to mention all the times. Did you not pay attention or did you see how many times it happened after that on the other games that played out? It happened multiple times this week and this weekend, and every time it happened, they went back and referenced the Brandon Cooks play. And you hear the commentators, I mean, everyone, they're like, dude, I don't even know what's a catch anymore at this point. I really don't. They didn't even want to give their
the
opinion on it because they were so confused.
the only one that I saw where they said that is the Devontae Adams one. Now that's a completely totally different catch because he catches the ball, establishes possession with at least two steps, and then he goes down with a knee, and then the ball comes out. That's a
Well,
totally
Brandon
different
Cooks
one.
came down with 2 steps and then his knee came
No, he
down.
didn't. No, he
Yes, he
didn't.
did.
He
Go back and review it.
he caught the ball. He caught the ball in the air and came down
Yeah, he
with the
caught the
defender
ball in
on.
the air.
No,
His
no, no,
feet land
no,
first and then he comes down on his knee.
no. See, like the
Yeah,
Devontae Adams one is totally different. He catches this and runs with it. Then he gets tackled down with the knee down.
I could probably pull it up. You want me to pull it up?
Mhm.
I could try. Chat,
If they
would
don't
you like
flag
for us to
us,
pull that up?
if they don't
I
flag
think
us,
chat would like for us to pull that up. Well, I'll see if I can get it here cuz I think I might have it saved. I just got to figure out where. Got to figure out where it's at. And one. Yep, right here. Let me just turn off the volume here. Where's the volume at? There it is. So here we go. Share a window. No, a tab. All right. Can you see that?
yeah, I'm probably gonna watch it on. Okay, 'cause it's kind of blurry. I'll probably watch it on YouTube.
That's fine. That's fine. So it goes up in the air. Oh, that was the previous play. But right here, right here. So catch, 1, 2, knee, 1, 2, knee. Exactly as I said. 1, 2, knee. Right here. Let me see. In reverse. Right there.
See,
One. Oh, you can't see it right there. 1, 2, knee. Boom.
see, but there's no established possession like that. Just like how you're
As I
going. So,
said. As I
but
said.
see, like so, the same throw could be thrown to out of bounds. But if they drop the ball as they go out of bounds, even though they caught it inside 1-2, they drop it out of bounds. It's not a catch because they got to survive the ground.
I get that. I get that they have to survive
So,
the ground.
so,
But then
it's the same thing here.
there's also similar plays where that hasn't happened before,
Let me
right?
see.
They awarded catches this past weekend where there's the ground to survive and they don't survive the ground.
Because there's another one that I saw that was just like that. I think it was Bucks versus the Cowboys. It was like the exact same thing, and they awarded it
Well,
the
I mean,
interception.
take the so there's a couple of them that happened, right? So last year's AFC title game with Buffalo, that was another one with Taylor Rapp coming up with the interception and it's ruled a catch by Xavier Worthy, right? If you recall that one, Taylor
I
Rapp
don't.
wraps himself around Xavier Worthy because the ball's coming in front. It's a back shoulder throw, right? Taylor Rapp's got the over the top. Xavier Worthy's got the back shoulder. Worthy turns around to come catch the ball. Rapp comes up behind him, grabs the ball first, pulls it in on Xavier Worthy's chest, comes down with it. They award the catch to Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy never even had possession of the ball. It was Rap that had possession, but it was tucked into Worthy's chest, and it was given as a reception to Xavier Worthy. So there's a couple of other references too that are going around online. Um, again with a couple of other catches that happened where it's again similar fashion. And I get that. So we have some comments coming in, man, right here. Cooks didn't have two steps. He went straight down. We kind of established that already that, there is 2 feet down on the ground. Then his knee got to survive the ground. Slowed down. Refs are calling it in real time. And correct, they are calling it real time, but they also went back to review the play. Once Sean McDermott called timeout, they went back to go review it just to double check and make sure everything's good. But again, at which point they just keep it all the same. And any you can't pull a football move on something like that. But again, Devontae Adams with his catch, he didn't make a
His was
football
a
move.
football move. He did.
What was the football move?
He had clear possession and he was running
A football move is
towards
3 steps, not two.
infield. Infield, yeah. Look, pull it up.
Hey, you pull it up, dog. You pull it up. You show me, dog. Show me. Just show the world right there on your phone.
This one's like a 2-minute video. It's probably like a breakdown. Yeah, this is a breakdown. They say, oh yeah, first off, on that play, there's offsides. They didn't call it. That's first off.
Bro, we're not even getting into that, dude. Let's stick to the details here, okay? Let's stick to the
But
details.
but if they're missing calls, let's call all the calls are missing. Not just the ones we want to pick and choose.
Oh, I get that. And if you want to do that, then that's fine because they also missed a pass interference call on Brandon Cooks in the end zone on a few drives prior to that. They don't call a pass
Yeah.
interference when he
And
clearly gets tugged
and
on his arm in the end zone, but then call a pass
and
interference on Buffalo
and
in
they missed the
overtime.
holding call. And they also missed the holding call in the end zone in overtime, which would have ended the game for Buffalo right then and there. Just saying.
I didn't see that one.
That was a
I didn't
big
see
one.
that one, so I can't comment or speculate. Hell yeah! How you like them apples?
Uh,
Okay. But yeah, I mean, dude,
hey,
there's
YouTube's
multiple PI
YouTube's
calls.
free, dog.
They were Here's the thing though, they were letting them play right up until the very end, and that's what didn't make any sense. And I think again that's what's frustrating to a lot of NFL fans, even for people who didn't have any sort of interest in this game in terms of that being their favorite team, is they're letting them play. Everyone's throwing hands. There was multiple times they easily could have called PI on both teams, but they didn't throw any flags. But then in overtime, they start throwing flags. So it's like, well, hold on. Okay, we weren't saying anything before because you weren't throwing any flags. But now that you are, now we have to go back and reference as to, well, why did you miss it on the rest of these? Why didn't you call it on the rest of these? And how does that make it fair? At that point, you start injecting yourself into the game when it's not about you, it's about the players. And I think that's what makes it frustrating for just any fan in general, even just the regular spectator, again, who doesn't have a favorite team in this.
Yeah, I mean, but the Bills put themselves in that position, and that's what I think a lot of people don't want to talk about. They want to talk about this catch. Was it not a catch? But I think the Bills did
No,
that
for
to
sure.
themselves.
Well, no, I mean,
Because
I don't think anyone is justifying their loss based on the refs. They obviously know that Josh
I think
Allen.
a lot of people are basing off the loss on the refs, and they're not really putting to light what really happened throughout the whole entirety of the game. What led to that point, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
Like
mean,
I
you
said,
can
there was.
certainly go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say because like I said, there was 4 turnovers in regulation, right? And granted, I know we talked mess or not mess, but we talked a little bit about the Bills' defense, how they're not all that great, right? Off those
Hmm.
4 turnovers, they only allowed 13 points, and mind you, there were short field positions, right? So 4 turnovers to allow 13 points, and in that small field. I think that's pretty stout, right? So I think the defense did all they could in this game to help them overcome what happened with those four turnovers in regulation. And like I said, Josh Allen missing that wide open Knox for that go ahead touchdown to win the game, right? But I just want to go back to what I said in the beginning, toward the beginning of the season. To me, it looks like Josh Allen panics in the playoffs when the pressure's real tight, right? Just like how that fumble right before halftime, which actually led to 10 points coming out of the half, right? Like, what was the need of that for? Makes no sense. Like you gotta, like how we talk about, you gotta have it in here, right? He tries to do too much. He panics, I think, in situations like that, right? Now, I actually wanted to throw off a stat,
So
sort of say,
okay, okay.
right? Because we want to talk about he has the best playoff stats and whatnot, right? How he
He
has all
does have a lot
time
of good.
playoffs,
Yeah, he does have a lot of good all-time playoff stats for sure.
right? But his clutch performance, I think, is average at best because he only has one career postseason game-winning drive, and that was
I
actually
get
this
that.
year's wild card against the Packers.
I get
That
that.
was the only one.
There's a reasoning
This
for that though. You understand, right? It doesn't go down as
Go
a
ahead.
game-winning drive if they lose the game, and you have to
Go
factor in
ahead.
how they lost those games, right?
Go ahead.
The missed field goal in the AFC
That was
Championship
actually
game, the missed field goal
go
that
ahead.
ended up not winning them the game, that gave Mahomes the ball in overtime. So that's not a game-winning drive for him. Okay. Then the 13 seconds left on the clock, right? He scores touchdown, gives them the lead. They have a 3-point lead with 13 seconds left. And Kansas City somehow finds a way to march down the field and within 13 seconds and kicks a field goal to tie up the game. Again, Mahomes gets the ball in overtime. Josh Allen never sees it, so it doesn't count as a game-winning drive. If they would have won the game, it would be a game-winning drive. But you can't put that necessarily on Josh Allen for not marching down the field and giving him the lead. So are you not going to credit him for giving him the lead?
So you named two games there, and how many playoff games does Josh Allen have? How many games has he played?
I get that, but I'm giving you two examples
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
as to
saying.
why a stat like that would be so, you know, jaw dropping to somebody. Is like, man, he only has one game winning drive in the postseason. Really? After the way that he's played, but then you go back and look at the way that he's lost. And when you see that, you're like, oh, that makes sense. He marches off the field with the lead that would have given him the stat for a game winning drive if the defense could stop somebody in 13 seconds or if the kicker could make a field goal, right? But there's been multiple times that
I
that's
just
happened
want
to
to.
him. There's been multiple times that that's happened. I'll credit two losses where he just absolutely looked like shit, and that was against the Houston Texans back in 2020, and that was against the Bengals. I think they lost like 23-10 or something like that. But outside of that, he's played pretty efficient in the playoffs in every single game.
I mean, so he's
And you also have to
15
factor in the
playoff
fashion
games.
in which he wins. You're not going to have a game-winning drive when you beat the Patriots 42-6 or whatever that number was. There is no game-winning drive for that. So you're not going to
No,
get
for
credit
sure.
for that.
But so I mean, so he has 15 playoff games, right? He's 7-8 in the playoffs.
Mhm.
14 touchdowns with 6 interceptions.
It's pretty good.
That don't sound amazing to me.
What sounds good to you
That's
then?
that's less than that's less than one touchdown a
And
game.
that's 14 passing touchdowns, right?
It just says 14 touchdowns. That's all it says.
So it's probably passing
And
touchdowns. You should
it
probably
doesn't say
factor in how
passing
many
or nothing.
rushing touchdowns is included in that. Yeah, but most quarterback stats that pull up are going to include only passing. They're not going to include rushing touchdowns.
I'm just letting you know what this says, dude.
I get that, but I mean, depending on how you're taking it in and perceiving it are two totally different things.
I mean, I'm just reading verbatim what this says. That's
And
all.
who's your
That's all I'm
source?
saying. I'm just
Who's your source? StatMuse?
Google. Google.
Yeah. So Google's going to give you passing touchdowns.
Oh, you work for Google now or what?
No, but I know how all these websites work. Whether you go to
Then why don't you go work
NFLnetwork.com,
for 'em?
whether you
Why
go
don't
to
you go work for 'em,
NFL.com,
dude?
whether you're on NFL Pro, whether you're on Google, hell, you could type in Chat GPT for that matter. Everyone for a quarterback stats, they're only going to give you their yards, their passing touchdowns, and their interceptions. If you want to figure out their total touchdowns, then look at it from a total perspective. How many touchdowns, how many passing touchdowns does Josh Allen have in the postseason? How many rushing touchdowns does he have in the postseason? And then add those two up together.
And is
Chat, we'll wait. We'll wait, chat. Hopefully he doesn't have dial-up chat.
dial up.
Was that the iPhone
So what?
16?
Dude, I got the 13.
That's why it's taking so long, brother. You need to upgrade.
Dude, it's giving me different numbers. Like
Well, there you
I
go.
did what you said. It says
There you
now it
go.
says 4, but
Yeah, we'll
I
see.
put what you told me to put, and now it says
There you go,
4.
man. See, you can't believe everything that you always read, though, pimp. Come on, man.
StatMuse says 1. So I don't know.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like you can't always justify that. Maybe go on ESPN, but we don't have time for that, right? We're not going to sit here and waste time on that. At the end of the day, okay, I know that for me personally, at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and say that Josh Allen doesn't deserve the blame for how they lost. Obviously, he takes a lot of the blame. I mean, hell, you saw it in his press conference. This dude was literally in fucking tears. The whole team, Brandon Cooks in the post game interview was crying. That dude's been on the team for like 2 weeks, and that dude was crying, talking about, nah, man, he didn't let us down. He didn't let us down. If that doesn't go to show you just how like influential that dude is on his team, like he cares for everything on that team. He carries the weight of that team on his shoulders. And I don't know that there's another quarterback in the NFL right now that carries more on their shoulders for their team than Josh Allen does. Because that dude, outside of Khalil Shakir, what weapons does like solidified weapons does he really have other than
Mhm.
James Cook? He had the number one, he had the
See,
best running back in the league, and that's it. But Shakir is a slot receiver at best, and that's it. And he's had to basically rely on him catching his targets the entire time. I mean, they didn't bring it. He had no valid number one receiver. They had a chance to go out and get Jalen Waddle, which Brandon Bead failed to do. Imagine if he had Jalen Waddle on the team. You think they would have probably been a lot better offensively? I think so. Would you agree?
see, I'm so happy you brought that up because I actually heard something today where it actually kind of pricked my ears a little bit about this whole Josh
Okay.
Allen thing, right? Him talking about not having help or whatnot. Now I'm
What's
saying
up, Faith?
100% he does need.
Sorry.
Oh, what's up? What's up?
I had to give a
Very
shout
good.
out to Faith real quick. She says hi.
Um, what was I gonna say?
You saw
Oh,
something today that talks about something.
yeah. So for sure he needs a better receiving core, guaranteed,
Absolutely.
100%.
100%.
Right? But I think sometimes we tend to forget he did have Stephon Diggs,
Right.
right? And whatever that fallout was or what have you, right? Because now I'm starting to think because you said he's putting the weight of his team on his shoulders. I'm starting to think he's probably now doing that to himself, right? Because you have someone as in Stephon Diggs, right? Could have built around him, um, but right, because now look at what Stephon Diggs is doing in New England. Granted, I know he was with the Texans, he got hurt, blah blah blah. But look at what he's doing in New England,
Hmm.
right? So you had someone with an elite status as far as a wide receiver, and what did he do with
Well,
him? Nothing, right?
Well, when you get 3 different girls pregnant at the same time and you're fixing to have to cough up a whole lot of child support money, you probably need to play on your A game. Let's just call it like how it is with why he's playing the way he's playing. And he's not their number 1 receiver on that team. He's not their bona fide number 1 receiver. He was brought in as a veteran receiver now because he's not used on every single play. He's
No,
not
he's
used in
not.
that he's not used in that fashion, and that's the difference. In Buffalo, he was the wide receiver one. And the reality was is that he was dropping passes in big time moments. So when you sit there and say that you kind of feel like Josh Allen put that on himself to carry the weight of the team on his shoulders, he kind of didn't have a choice because when your most reliable weapon is dropping passes, then what can you really trust him to go out there and make the big play? Because he did give him the opportunity in that AFC Championship game at home in Buffalo with that deep shot down the field, balls hit right to his chest, and he drops the pass wide open. I mean, nobody could have placed that ball any more perfectly than what he did right then and there. And you give all of your number one receivers that opportunity, they're catching that ball 9 out of 10 times. But there were multiple times throughout that season that Stephon Diggs was coming up short, dropping big time passes. And it was just time and time again. And rather than looking in the mirror, he wanted to point the finger at somebody else. And that's why he's gone.
I
That's
mean,
why he got let go. And clearly he wasn't much to the
I mean,
Texans, otherwise he'd still be there.
well, because he got hurt. What is he? What he tears ACL? Well, and I will say, Diggs is their one. He has the most receptions on that team with 85. Closest person after that is Hunter Henry. They're tied in at 60. So he's definitely their one guy on that team. So how can he? I know you said three baby mamas, whatnot, but that's besides the point, right? But how is he able to do so good with someone like the Patriots, and not do as good someone with like Josh Allen? That's why I'm saying that I think putting the weight on Josh Allen's shoulders, I think he's doing that to himself now at this point.
Well,
Because I
but
mean,
you
you obviously
said,
have
but
someone
you
that
even admitted
as
it
big who.
yourself. But you admitted it yourself just now. He doesn't have a wide receiver core. So what choice does he have?
Right,
Right? It
right now he did,
and
but he did
when?
when
That was two
Diggs was
years
there. That's what I
ago.
said. You could build
That was
around
2 years
Diggs.
ago. That was two
Exactly.
years ago.
Exactly.
He brought him back to the AFC Championship
Exactly.
game last year, and he almost made it to the AFC Championship again this year. And so
Well,
he
he
has
didn't
no
because they
that's what I'm
lost.
saying. He has no
But see,
choice.
but
He has no
no,
choice.
when you have when
What do you want him to do? What would
but you
you
still
do? What
have
would
Diggs on your
what would
team
Cisco do in that
back then.
situation?
No, I'm saying when you still have Diggs on your team back then,
And Diggs was dropping
right? Because
passes.
because stuff like that happens though. Just like interceptions happen,
Right, but when you consistently drop
right?
passes, are you going to trust that person
And I mean, it's
after so long?
it's not consistently. I wouldn't say consistently.
It was pretty consistent in the playoffs, which is why all the heat got
I
thrown
don't
on
think.
Stephon Diggs because he was dropping passes. Go back and watch. Everyone was talking about it. It's like, no, dude,
No,
you're over here barking the big game, talking a big game, talking about how you want to be wide receiver number one, right? Minnesota didn't care about it. So you had to go to Buffalo to prove that you're the wide receiver one. Okay, so now you're wide receiver one. Show us what you're made of. And then you're constantly dropping passes. Year in and year out, you were dropping passes. And especially in moments that were really big, to what you say, your clutch traits, right? Well, in the clutch, Stephon Diggs wasn't playing so clutch, dropping passes. And that's why you have no choice but to move on.
see, I have to go
Hold on.
back
So
and
Druko says Mahomes players drop passes all year, they still go all the way. And yes, I'm not going to argue that fact, but the reality was is that they had one of
but
the best
it's
defenses in the
it's
league.
it's Dr. Cucho.
Oh, Druko, Dr. Cucho. Well,
No,
whoever the
Cucho.
hell it is.
Yeah.
Dr. Cucho. Right. I don't care. However you say it. Druko, Cucho, Dr. Cucho, Mucho, Lakers in 5, all right? But nonetheless, okay, they had one of the best defenses in the league, right? And they would always bank on the other team making a mistake before they did. Not to mention, we're not going to sit here and act like the refs didn't help them out. No one in their right mind can sit here with a straight face and say that they didn't get bailed out by the refs 24/7 for the last few years. Up until this year. This year they cleaned a lot of it up, and there was a he said, "You can call me daddy. It's cool. I got you, daddy." But nonetheless, again, the refs bailed them out 24/7 up until this year. And it was even so noticeable that the media started talking about it. They're like, "Oh man, they're not getting the same calls that they were last year." Right? When people can see that, that says something, especially when media people speak up about it, because they for sure ain't gonna say nothing about it. But anyways, dude, we kind of beat this to a bloody pulp here, man. We're getting off topic here, and we're already in it 45 minutes, dude, and we're on topic number one. We got many more to go. And I know you know how many we have to go. We got to make it through this
Yeah, I know.
itinerary here, my man. So let's move
Yeah.
on, dude. Um, okay. Caleb Williams, that fourth down heave. What did you think of Caleb Williams this postseason? That's the next question is what did you think of the heroics by Caleb Williams in this postseason? And then on that late interception in overtime to DJ Moore, does how much of the blame do you put on DJ Moore?
So I just want to start off with that pass. As soon as I saw him started running backwards, I got up out of the couch, about to turn the TV off. I was like, "Game over. That's game." And then as soon as I grabbed the remote to turn it off, I see him launch it, and then Cole Kmet there just like he's almost wide open, just catching it in the end zone. I was
He
like, I
was.
I yell like, "Oh!"
I was like,
right in the basket.
dude, me and my wife are sitting there on
Yeah,
the couch just watching. We're just like this. Oh my God. Oh, like, dude, that was
yeah,
like our reaction was just like that. We both stood up out of the couch.
yeah,
Fucking kids come running out of the room. They're like, "What happened? What happened?" And we're like, "We can't even tell you. You had to be here to see it.
yeah.
What happened, Dad? Oh my God, what happened?" It's like, "You fucked up. You were in your room. You should have been down here watching." Dude,
No, man,
awesome,
that was a
awesome throw.
that was definitely a play where I was like, "Wow." Like, I did not expect that. And then you would see, Sean McVay's face just, like, in awe, like, "What just happened?"
Dude, he was just like,
Yeah.
bro. Even McVay
That
was
was
like,
crazy.
"What the fuck was that?"
Yeah,
Like we had this guy dead to rights.
yep.
This dude was going down, dude, bro. I was telling my son, I was like, he go, after everything happened, he's like, "Dad, okay, so the game was already over." He's like, "So what happened when you started yelling?" And I said, "Son," I said, "he threw a 20-yard pass from 40 yards away. That's what happened." He's like,
Yeah.
"Huh?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "They were lined up at the 20. He spikes or he hikes the ball. This motherfucker backpedals and runs all the way back to the 40 because he's being blitzed."
Backwards.
Yeah. Motherfucker runs all the way back to the 40-yard line just to get some space, tosses a prayer up, and hits a wide open Cole Komet. And I was just like, oh,
Yeah. Yep. Dude, that was pretty. Yeah, that was definitely one for sure.
yeah,
But I mean, back to your questions. I mean, with Ben Johnson added to the team as their head coach, I think the Bears are gonna win a ring here in the near future, and definitely think Caleb Williams gonna win an MVP in the near future too, if he keeps playing the way he's playing.
for sure.
Because I mean, it seems like Now, what I said about Josh Allen, he doesn't like the pressure. I think it's opposite for Caleb Williams. I think he likes the pressure, is what it seems like.
Mhm.
So I think just the way his level of play elevated. I mean, even throughout this whole season, going into the playoffs, it's just definitely a 180 for sure. And I
Yeah.
think I even have some. I mean, because they definitely have a promising future. He's definitely on track to be one of the top QBs in the league, right? Considering where he started,
Mhm.
right? So no, I mean the Bears are definitely one to go out now. Um, they can start. I will say they can start building a little bit of their defense. Now, granted, I know that they were top in the league as far as uh, turnovers, but
Okay.
as far as their ranked defense, their yards and allowed what wasn't so great. So I think they could probably start building on the defensive end. So and no one's really talking about Dennis Allen, and I think you even pointed to this last time we were on. Like it's going to be up to Dennis Allen on how he's going to be able to stop this Rams offense. And man, did he do a really phenomenal job with what he had? Because yeah, that's that's a that's a great part
Yeah,
on his
Dennis
end.
Allen definitely
Um,
solidified himself as one of the best defensive coordinators in the game right now, for sure. For sure, hands
yeah,
down.
yeah,
I
because
mean,
that
he was going toe to toe
doing what,
with McVay. You know what I mean?
yep,
He
and with what he
he
had
called a
to
great
on defense,
defensive game. Yeah, yeah, he called a
yeah,
great
one
defensive
hundred
game, had a
percent.
great defensive season. So, still not worthy, I think, yet to be a head coach again. But I think he should definitely stay where he's at with Chicago and keep building on what you have right now, because you are making a
Oh,
case
for sure, 100%.
for another head coaching position, but just not yet. Let's see it for another season. Can
Yeah,
you repeat this or get better? Let's see it. But
yeah.
what about the DJ
I
Moore?
mean,
What about
because
the interception to end the game? Tell me about your thoughts on that. Did you get a chance to see did so they showed two different replays. They show obviously the sideline replay and then they show from the end zone, right? And the the sideline play gives a completely different perspective than the end zone play. Now I don't know if you saw that, so I just want to kind
I
of
don't
get
think I
your
saw the
take
end
on
zone.
that. Okay.
So I
So
didn't see the end zone.
go ahead.
So I mean, I guess before if you are going to pull it up on my thoughts before I see the end zone one, on the view that I saw, it doesn't look like Moore's to blame. I just think, just like Williams said, it was a miscommunication on their part, right? Because both players not being on the same page. Because it looks like Caleb thought DJ Moore was gonna go straight across, and from the looks of it, Moore was doing more of like a slant type route, like upfield rather than straight across.
Yep.
That's what it looked like on my end. Now, now it does look like he did slow up, but it's because it does look like they're on totally two different pages on him. More going up the field versus Williams think he's going straight across. So no, I mean, based on the view that I saw. Now
Yeah.
I know you said there's an end zone view, which I didn't see, that shows something totally different. So
So, well, so the end zone view shows exactly what you just said right there. So I'm not going to waste time necessarily going in to repeat it. But what I will say is this is there's a few things in this game that you obviously can't teach, right? That you kind of just there's a feel for the game just as much as there is skill, right? One of the things that makes Mahomes so great is these off-time throws, these off rhythm when he escapes the pocket, right? Who's the guy that he communicates best with is Kelsey, right? Now, what's Kelsey's greatest
yeah,
strength? Getting wide open, understanding where the defense is going to be so he knows where to stand where they're not, right? Another all time great that was really good at that was Jason Witten. If you recall back to his days in Dallas,
yeah,
dude was the slowest motherfucker on the field, but yet was always wide open. And why is that? Well, if you follow his career, he always talked about it. I would read and understand the defense and understand where they were going to be. And I was always given the option route to run whatever I wanted to run. And it was because I had that ability to know where the defense was going to be so I could place myself in a spot where they weren't going to be anywhere near me. That's how I was so wide open. Kelsey has that same exact trait. For Caleb Williams, he's now understanding that as a quarterback, which speaks to his growth and it speaks to the development that Ben Johnson has had on Caleb. But now he needs to start teaching that to his receivers, right? Is like, hey, I know that we
Yeah.
call this route, but understand if the defense is doing, let's say the defense is playing the deep ball, well, then I'm going to toss it to where you're going to run, horizontal towards the sideline. I'm going to toss it there, and I need you to understand and read that when that happens because that's where I'm going with the football. And I think he needs to get develop that relationship with his receivers in that fashion. I'm not saying he doesn't have a relationship at all, but that's just part of the
No, for
growth and
sure.
maturity that you're going to see, I think, next season with his receivers is you're going to see that better communication of when he's talking about communication, I don't think he's talking about between him necessarily and DJ Moore. I think it's DJ
No,
Moore
just
understanding.
being on the same page, like yeah,
Yeah,
like if they
yeah,
see
being on the same
something
page with
when
what the
they're
defense is
together, they
giving
can
them.
be on the same page. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Being able to essentially
I mean,
feel the defense out mid play and making those adjustments mid play and them understanding their each other on that situation. Mahomes does it all
each
day
other.
long with
Yeah,
Travis Kelsey, right? And so I
yeah.
think moving into next season, that's what you're going to see with them. So, anyways, man,
Well, and I mean, I just want to throw into to be fair. I mean, I don't think that was the right throw for Caleb Williams. He wasn't getting pressured. He had a clean pocket. He had all day to throw.
oh,
You
bro, I
had
had it for
obviously
like
the
six
corner
seconds.
trailing more. Yeah, and then you had that safety coming down on Moore, right? So I mean, I think I don't remember the down it was and how much time was left, but he had Manungai for the check down wide open to gain I think like 3-4 yards, right? Because you had two
Yeah, I
two
think it was
linebackers
like
like
first
behind him
down.
about 10 yards.
It was
Yeah.
first or
So
second down. It
and
wasn't a must. It wasn't a must need throw. It was first or second down, one or the other.
yes. So so I think that was a bad read from Williams, but like you said, that's a growth between them two that we'll hopefully see next season.
Yeah, he didn't have to make the throw. He easily could have hit the check down, or he could have just rushed it himself. And I think that's where he's going to get better at too, is
Yeah.
understanding the situation and knowing, hey, because you're 10 yards away from a field goal. That's
Yeah.
essentially where they're at. They're 10 yards away from getting in the field goal range. Take the check down or throw an incompletion, live to fight another play. So that way you're not, throwing the ball in harm's way. But I think he enjoys throwing that deep ball. I think he really loves that. I think he likes the explosive
Yeah, he
plays.
does. He
And there's
does.
nothing wrong with having a
Yeah, he
quarterback
does.
who loves that because boy, there's nothing more awesome than watching a fucking explosive play. Right. I mean, who doesn't like a,
Yep.
a deep 40-yard pass? Everyone does. But sometimes he just
Yep.
has to know when to take those shots and when not to take those shots. And in a situation like that, I mean, unless it's a surefire dude's open by 10 yards, might not necessarily be the time to take it, especially on a first or second down. Right? Take the check downs, get
Exactly.
the small
Yep.
yardage situations. You're already in overtime, so the clock's not against you, right? You have all the time in the world, live to fight another down. But moving on, CJ Stroud.
And
Boy, oh
oh,
boy.
sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
This one right here, man. This is gonna hit some sensitive ears, I think, man, for sure. Cause I know if you're a Houston fan, boy, you're furious right now. I mean, I'm sure that people want to probably go out and I mean, dude, if they could get 10 seconds in front of CJ Stroud's face, man, they would be screaming at the top of their lungs, trying to scratch him and punch him and all kinds of shit. I mean, dude, there's just no way around it, brother. What did he have?
Yeah.
Six turnovers?
Uh,
Six turnovers in 2
I know
games
he
or
had four
something like that?
interceptions.
Something absurd? 4 interceptions just in the
Seven, seven turnovers in 2 games.
Jesus, bro. What happened? That's the question, literally. That's the question we all have. And chat, feel free to chime in on this too.
Yeah.
I mean, what happened to CJ
I
Stroud?
mean, I mean, it's I don't know, man. But from what I see, I think the pressure is starting to get to him. right? Because I think since he had amazing rookie season, he's kind of been riding the coattail that season, and now I think everyone is expecting him to do that every single season now, and I think that pressure is just getting too much for him.
Yeah.
But I mean, what he's in year 3 right now, right? Going into year 4.
Yep. He just finished up year 3 and he will now be entering in year 4. And it's a big
Yeah.
year for
So
him
I mean, I don't
because
know.
he's also eligible for his extension. After year 3, you become eligible for your extension, so there's a big thing there. But what do you think that they should have thrown in Mills?
I honestly thought they were coming out of the half. I thought they were going to make a change at starting David Mills in the game and sitting CJ
Mhm.
Stroud, which I don't think no one would have been mad at because he had 4 picks in the first half, right? If I'm not mistaken. So, so I don't think people would have been mad at that switch of putting Mills in the game coming out of half. I thought they were.
Yeah.
I think I texted you that too. Like, hey, do you think they make the switch? Right, and
Right,
I think
right.
they should have made the switch. Right,
I think they should
why
have.
not? You have your quarterback. Uh, you got your starting quarterback throwing 4 picks in the first half. So like, why not just try something else? Because obviously that's not working,
Yeah, I mean,
right?
obviously, right?
And
Nothing worked
even
for
if
you
you
in
didn't
Pittsburgh.
exactly, and then the same thing happened going into this game
Yeah, nothing happened
to
for you in
start off the game.
Pittsburgh.
So it's like, so
And I mean, this dude was damn near trying to give away the game before Nick Caley literally just started running the ball. He was like, "Screw you. I'm not going to have you pass the ball no more because every time I give you the ball, you damn near give it away every single time, whether it's an interception or a fumble." And then we saw a lot of the same thing in the
yep,
first half, like you said, and it was like, holy shit. I mean, even commentary was calling for it. Dude, maybe you should probably put in Davis Mills because at this point, it can't get no worse. Only way it can go is better from here. And Davis Mills, albeit a
yeah,
backup, he's the reason why you're on that win streak that you're on. He started you off on that win streak going 3-0. And what Davis Mills proved is that you can be an average quarterback on that offense with that defense and win games. If you can just be average,
exactly.
but at that point you got nothing to lose, right? And so for D'Amico Ryans, man,
And
it's like, dude, brother, I'm not I wouldn't have knocked you, man. Look at Nick Saban. Nick Saban pulls out Jalen Hurts at the half national championship to throw in Tua Tagovailoa because Jalen Hurts just wasn't getting it done. And Jalen Hurts was your
yep,
quarterback all freaking
and
season
won the
long,
championship.
going lights out. Pulls him out at half, puts in Tua, and we all know the story from there. Tua lights up the field and ends up winning them the national championship, right? And Nick Saban goes down as the greatest coach of all time because of that. Because he made that big decision. He made that tough decision in the toughest game at the toughest time, right? And he stuck to his guns and it worked out in his favor. And no one ever questioned his decision making after that because clearly he knew he saw something that was like, nope, this ain't working. I have a quarterback that will work. Davis Mills was working for you.
Yep,
He was putting in work. He had great games. He wasn't turning the
exactly.
ball over.
Yep. Now, I mean, granted, of course, he didn't have Nico Collins or Dalton Schultz. So I mean that definitely plays a big part. But still, like we said, a Steelers game and this game looked identical on CJ Stroud's performance. And no one's talking about him tearing his backup tight end's ACL, tearing apart his knee, throwing it behind him, has to go back and catch it, rips his knee apart.
Dude,
So
bro,
he's not only throwing picks,
that's
he's
that's
injuring his
two
teammates.
receivers. That's two receivers now that he's injured. Two receivers.
Yep.
And it's like, come on, bro.
So
Yeah,
I mean
CJ Stroud has just
now,
been off, bro. All those throws because it was the same thing in Pittsburgh too. Guys on routes whether they're cutting in or out, He was throwing them behind him every single time, and they kept having to reach back and stop and do all. Dude, yeah, I mean, the dude's regressed literally since his rookie season. And
That
now what's coming up?
bad, bad.
Yeah, and now what's coming up is the video from Caleb Williams when they played each other. And he tries big broing Caleb Williams, and he's like, "Hey, bro, like, don't worry, man.
Oh
Just
yeah,
keep
yeah,
working, bro.
yeah,
You'll get it. You'll get here one day. You'll get here one day." And Caleb Williams like, "All right."
yeah,
And now look at him. Now look at him. I mean, bro,
yeah,
you, you just I don't know, man. You can't draw it up worse than what CJ Stroud is doing here. I mean, year one,
yeah.
right?
I mean, because
4,100 yards, 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. That's year one. Year two, 3,700 yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Year three, 3,000 yards, 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Now, he missed 3 games, but if you look at his yards per game, it was down year over year. And if you look at his touchdown to interception ratio, I mean, you're one every 2 touchdowns, you know, you're throwing an interception. So it's like you're not
yeah,
getting any better, brother. You're regressing.
yeah. I mean, like, think that pressure is just too much for him, because like I said, he had that stout rookie season, so now everyone expects that, and he can't hold up to that expectation. So I mean, and I'm not even a Texans fan, and I wouldn't be mad if they moved on from him because I feel for that defense because that defense is lights out, right? So
Is that what you feel like
it's
needs
you
to
just need an
happen?
average quarterback for a defense like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I think let it play out to his fourth year, see what happens then, right? If if
Yeah.
if he has just I think the expectation for him coming into this next year is to play like his rookie season. I think if he has an average season, he's gone.
Yeah. Now, here's the flip side to it, though, is I think that they're going to have to exercise his fifth year option in order to convince him to play, right? They become eligible for their contract extension this year. Houston ain't going to give it to him. But I think in turn,
Yeah,
what that's going to force him to do, because CJ Stroud could easily be like, well, hey, you don't give me an extension, I'm not playing. So I think what they might do just out of favor out of a favor for him is like, hey, we're not, obviously we're going to take a look at your stats. We're going to see how you've been doing. You're not looking pretty good. You've regressed every single year since your rookie season. So we're going to hold off on contract negotiations at the moment, but we're going to pick up your fifth year option. Right. And so that'll at least convince him to have a reason to play this next season, and then they'll tell him like, "Hey, depending on how you do this season, we'll potentially make you the highest paid player in the league at that point." And then maybe that way that might provide some sort of incentive for him to actually want to give a fuck, because I think to most Houston Texans
yeah,
fans is that he doesn't. I mean, this dude was showing up to press conferences literally this year in New York gear and Seattle gear, and it's like, bro, you're in Texas, brother. You're in Houston. What the hell are you wearing
yeah,
other teams?
yeah,
Oh, it's cuz I like these teams. Motherfucker, you don't need to like any other team right now except for the one that you play for. Like, I'm sorry, but I thought that was like an unwritten rule
yeah,
in a contract when you play for a professional team is that you don't rock anybody else's shit unless it's your team or from your city. You can rock Houston
yeah,
Texans gear, you can rock Houston Rockets gear. But you ain't rocking no Seattle Mariners cap. You ain't wearing no New York Yankees cap, especially the Seattle Mariners are in the same division as the Houston Astros, and the New York Yankees are the biggest rival to the Houston Astros. They've had the best rivalry in the last decade, and you're sitting there in the heart of Houston wearing a Yankees cap. You have any idea what the people think of you right now? They think you look like an idiot. Get the hell out of here, bro, with that shit.
oh man,
Anyways, next question, man. So, do you think this
I
was?
got
Do
you
you
heated.
think here? Because
Got you
here's
heated.
the Yeah, it did got me a little bit heated right there, dog. A little bit heated. But hey, so you said right, their defense obviously is pretty stout, but obviously the big question too is can they keep this up next year, which is gonna we'll get to that here in a minute. But the first question was is do you think that this was their only window? I'm assuming that based off of what you said that you think that this isn't that their window for the Super Bowl is still open.
Yes.
Okay. So let me rattle off a couple things that are going to happen here. And maybe this might kind of change your speculation. Okay. Daniil Hunter is a free agent. So they're going to have to look to re sign him. Tommy Tagai, or whatever his name is, he's a free agent. Sheldon Rankins, he's a free agent. Ed Ingram, who's their offensive line, he's their guard, he's a free agent. You also have Nico Collins, it's going to be looking for a contract extension. Will Anderson, there ain't nothing wrong with him. He's going to be looking for a contract extension. Nick Chubb is a free agent. Danico Autry is a free agent. So they're losing, they could potentially lose a lot of these players because with as stout as that defense was, you don't think that other teams are going to offer them big time money? And we gotta ask ourselves: is Houston going to be able to pay all these guys? Because I don't think so. Obviously they're going to keep Will Anderson. They'll definitely keep Nico Collins, um, and they'd be retarded not to re-sign Daniil Hunter. So you got those three guys, but then you got everybody else,
Yeah.
right? And then the year after that, all of your rookies all that you drafted 2 years ago are going to be eligible for their contract extensions now. And on top of that, you have to figure out how to pay CJ Stroud. You're gonna have to re-up Stingley. You're gonna have to re-up Al Shair. You're gonna have to ring up Petrie. You're gonna have to ring up a lot of these guys here over the next 2 years. So it's like, can they figure out a way to adjust their cap space, maybe renegotiate a couple of contracts if needed to make that happen? It's gonna be tough, but there's three main pieces that they definitely need to bring back. Obviously, question is can they afford it? Because maybe what these other teams are going to be willing to pay after what they've seen this season. And to
Yeah. No,
that,
I mean
sir, you
they're
say
definitely going to
what?
be in. I mean, it's definitely going to be a contract battle to get these cats. But I mean, I feel like that group. I don't know. It feels like they're so well knitted together that they're gonna want to stay together and do whatever possible to stay together on the defensive side of the ball. So I mean, I think I could still see them for at least another year together, and then at that point it'll be up to CJ Stroud on what he does on his fourth year. Then from there, if they see that okay, we can't make it with this guy, they're not going to move on from him. Then we'll start going somewhere else. That's what I think.
I got you. That makes sense.
Think think they're gonna try to hold it off for another year to stay together, because they obviously know how dominant they are. So they're gonna try to hold it off to stay together and see how CJ Stroud does, and if he blows the tank again, then yeah, I think they're gonna be gone.
And also, too, Davis Mills is a free agent this season too. So that's another question that they have to ask themselves too. Is like,
And
hey, Davis Mills started you off on this 3-0 run that led to your, whatever game win streak that you finished off the season with up until you lost to the Patriots. So, you know, we all know how it played out for CJ Stroud, and then we all know how it looked for Davis Mills. Now, obviously, no one's gonna come out saying that he's the next Drew Brees or Peyton Manning or anything of that nature. That's not what we're saying for Davis Mills. But at the end of the day, when all you have to be is average in order to win because the defense is so
I was about
stout,
to say all they need, they just need, yeah.
they
I
got
was
me
literally
pulling
about
my
to say
Robert
that.
De
All
Niro
they need
impression right now, dog.
to do is be average. That's literally like all they need is just the offense to be average, and they win because that defense is
Hmm.
so good. They just
Yep.
need the offense to be average. All they need.
And Demon Plague said, I said CJ
But
Stroud was trash early on. And brother, you ain't wrong. I think we were all saying that, except his rookie season. His rookie season, he looked great. He was hitting the deep shots. He was hitting everybody on target. He was hitting everybody on time. And also too, what's the other big thing that happened? Right? You had Bobby Slowick as your offensive coordinator for those first 2 years, albeit that he regressed in year two. Right? They thought it was because of Slowick. They thought that defenses have figured out his scheme. So what do? They move on from him. They fire him at the end of the year last year. They bring in Nick Caley, and Nick Caley obviously calling the shots here, and it's even worse now for CJ. So again, now it's kind of making Bobby Slowick kind of look a little bit more better as an offensive coordinator because it's like, well, hold on, you know, at the end of the day, we were still producing some good numbers. I mean, yeah, the defense obviously made the defense made it look better than what it actually was this season. But how much better could it potentially have looked if they would have kept Slowick? And I don't recall, but I want to
Yeah.
say that there was some heads that got turned when they let him go. That they were kind of like, wait, what? I think it was like 50-50. I think half the city was like, yes, get rid of him because they thought it was Slowick. I think the other half saw through the bullshit, much like Demon Plague said. I think they saw through the bullshit and was like, no, CJ Stroud is just ass. I know Derek, for one, thought that CJ Stroud was ass last year. I didn't hear him once blaming it on Slowick. You know what I mean? So, anyways, man, moving on, brother. Moving on, man. Right, because now obviously this weekend's over, the divisional round's over, so now we look towards the AFC and NFC championship games: Broncos versus Patriots, Rams versus Seahawks. Let's start with the Broncos and Patriots game first. Obviously, the big storyline coming out of this weekend was Bo Nix suffering that ankle injury that came out of nowhere. I mean, no one even knew it happened, and then it was literally like seconds after the game. You got Adam Schefter reporting on ESPN that Bo Nix season-ending surgery on a broken ankle, and everyone's twisting their heads like, wait, what? When the hell did this guy break his ankle? This dude was literally just jogging off the field. When the fuck did he break his ankle? But obviously,
Yeah.
obviously we found out it was when he had to kind of rush out of the pocket and or escape out of the pocket and do whatever he had to do. And you see him kind of come down slightly awkwardly, but then ultimately that's what obviously that's what broke his ankle. And so now they're going to be relying on backup quarterback Jared Stidham, who hasn't even started a game in God knows how many years. But nonetheless, I don't think that's really the question that we need to be asking. Is I think the question is can the Broncos defense carry them to the Super Bowl? Because Houston had the number one defense in a lot of people's eyes, and then a lot of other people's eyes, it was the Broncos. They were 1-2, right? And technically in stats, they were 1-2, but you could make an argument for either one that they were number one. And so that's the question is do you
Yeah.
think the Broncos then can carry? Because once again, I think this is another team that with average quarterback play, you can win a lot of games. And so to that, you say what?
Yeah. Well, so I know there's another question that you had on there. Do the Broncos stand a chance without Bo Nix? I think that they could put up a fight because of their defense, right? But I still think the Patriots are still taking it. Mainly being because the Pats defense is pretty great too. That defensive front is actually, I think, is what's helping them win the games, right? Putting that pressure on the quarterback. We saw it with the Chargers, and then we saw it with the Texans, right? So I mean, I think the Pats defense is going to be too much with the offense without their starting quarterback, right? Now, um, yeah, I think they're just too good on both sides of the ball. Where on the Broncos, I think they're going to be only good on one side of the ball, which is their defense. So I think that's going to out unfortunately.
Oh, brother, you hit a crazy lag.
And I know, were you able to hear what I said?
Not the last like 2 seconds of what you said. You just started talking and your mic went mute for a second. Um, but do you want to take a quick commercial break real fast?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We can continue this conversation on the other side. Oh, you got there quick.
Quick, dog. Quick with it.
Look at you, pimp. Look at you. You got there fast.
No, I said, think it's going to be the Pats going back to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, that was like the last 2 seconds of what I said.
Oh, okay, okay, I got you. Yeah, I mean, well, so just my short answer is that I think that the defense can carry them, right? But a lot of things are going to have to go their way. I mean, they're going to need to pressure Drake May for sure, right? Similar how the Texans and Chargers did. Because if you follow that same sort of method, I think that you can actually pull it off. Um, you know, they've obviously escaped out of these last two games. I say they escaped, even though the Chargers might, the Chargers game might show. I think the scorecard might show something a little bit different. Um, but I truly think that Drake May's kind of just been I don't want to say getting lucky, but in a way, kind of have been essentially, right? He's definitely made the plays that the team has asked him to make. There's been, on both games that he's played so far with the Chargers and with the Texans, there's been about 3 to 4 plays where it's like, okay, hey, we need you to go out here and make these plays, and he's been able to do it, right? But the other side of it, though, is he's fumbled the ball. He's
Yeah,
fumbled the ball quite a bit. Yeah, I don't know that he's thrown any interceptions just yet, but I think he's thrown at least one. Um, but so my thing is that when you look at the Broncos defense and what they're bringing to the table, okay, they have the second best quarterback pressure rate in the entire league. The only team that was better than them at pressuring the quarterback was the Vikings. So I think that speaks a lot because what that's going to cause him to do is that's going to have to make him process everything faster. It's going to have
yeah,
to make him think quicker. But I think if they can continue to pressure the quarterback at that rate, I think it potentially will bring out some weaknesses that we haven't seen just yet in Drake May's game. But I think that you can see him possibly make a mistake. You can definitely get him to fumble the football. That's for sure. We know he can fumble. Um, but then also too, look at what the Broncos defense brings to the table, right? They're the second best I don't know how you would want to word this up, but they allow the least amount of explosive plays in the entire league. They're second in that rating. So they don't give up the deep pass at all. And then on top of that, a lot of it's probably predicated on the fact that you're able to pressure the quarterback that much. So you're going to rely on a lot of short yardage throws potentially. But
yeah,
I think it's going to come down to honestly, like I think it's going to come down to their edge rushers. I think if Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper can get to the quarterback like they have been, I think they stand a chance to win this game, even with Jared Stidham. Because
yeah,
leave it to Sean Payton. Sean Payton handpicked Jared Stidham to be his backup quarterback. He didn't inherit Jared Stidham. He selected this guy out of a whole entire thing of backup quarterbacks that he could have taken anybody. This is a backup quarterback list that had a guy like Mac Jones on there that he could have taken. And he said, "No, I'm not going to go with you. I'm going to go with this guy." And so obviously, Sean Payton has that eye, he has that nag for finding the right guys for his offensive schemes, right? Taysom Hill is another example of that when he was with New Orleans Saints. He had Drew Brees. He brings in Taysom Hill, and look at Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill was able to operate Sean Payton's offensive schemes almost no different than what Drew Brees was doing. You see what I mean? So Sean Payton just has like that weird kind of thing about it. Like, no, man, I picked these players for a certain reason, and so I think that he can have a great game.
yeah. I mean,
If he can just be average, like I said, you can win the game.
see, like in my opinion, I think for him, I think it's either going to be a really great game or a really bad game, because he could have a really great game because the Pats don't have no tape on him, so they don't know his tendencies and whatnot.
And
Um,
that's another thing that they're gonna have struggles with too. Yep.
right. Or it can be a really bad game. 'Cause like I said, that Pats defensive front is really good. Like I said, on these two playoff games, their quarterback pressure rate was outstanding. They're getting to that quarterback constantly. So it's if they could
Mm-hmm.
do if they could do the same thing against the Broncos, so that's like I said, it's gonna be either a really great game, really bad game. But going back to the Patriots offense, because I know we're talking about the Broncos defense and them having the second best quarterback pressure rate. But I think sometimes we forget that behind the scenes of the Patriots offense is Josh McDaniels. And I think as we see Josh McDaniels in the past, he knows how to put up a scheme against a really great defense. So I think that's definitely something to look out for too. But also, like we know, Drake May's tendencies as far as fumbles and whatnot. But I think McDaniels could create a scheme for that Broncos defense that will definitely put up a fight. Which, like I said, which is why I think also too that the Patriots are going to go back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, if they do go back to the Super Bowl, you know what we're all gonna say, man, is that they got lucky. They lucked out. You played against a 42-year-old aging Aaron Rodgers. You played against a regressing CJ Stroud, and you played against a backup quarterback with the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
You really couldn't ask for an easier route to the playoffs. I mean, granted, defensively, it's kind of been a. I'm sorry, not Rodgers. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, I was gonna say,
I meant to
I was like,
say the Chargers.
I was like,
The
did they play
Chargers, because
Rodgers?
no, 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 they didn't play. I got that mixed up, man. I'm talking about the Chargers, though, right? With the Chargers, I don't know who the fuck was quarterbacking. That wasn't Justin Herbert. That was a shell of Justin Herbert. That was a clone of him. That dude went to the Bahamas or some shit because that wasn't Justin Herbert. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But nonetheless, right? You go up against CJ Stroud, who's obviously regressing in the manner in which he is. Um, And I mean, your defense has kind of stepped up to the. You said it earlier, right? The defense kind of stepped up this postseason because they bailed him out on some of these turnovers that he's had. He had those turnovers against the Chargers, and then he had some turnovers against the Texans, and the defense has kind of bailed him out of those by either holding them off or whatever the case may be, or forcing their own turnovers, for that matter. So yeah. Anyways, I
which is
think I
why
think
I think
schematically, Josh McDaniels draws up a very good scheme to make to where it really kind of creates a lot less pressure on quarterbacks. But I think Sean Payton also does the same thing. And so I think offensively for Jared Stidham, it's going to be a little bit easier for him because they're not going to ask him to do as much as they typically would have from a Bo Nix. You know what I mean? I think that they're going to rely heavily on other pieces around them rather than they are Jared Stidham. Question is again is can the defense take them to the promised land? I think it's a definite possibility, but let's move on to the Rams and Seahawks game because
well,
obviously that's the
well,
other.
well. So who do you got then?
Unfortunately, I have to say I think the Patriots are going to win.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yep. That's what I
as
got
much
too.
as I've been talking shit saying that the fucking Broncos can do it, Broncos can do it. Unfortunately, I just think that the Patriots are going to win. I think they're going to win by default. Again, because it's a backup quarterback situation. I think if Bo Nix was in there, it's Bo Nix all day.
I think so
I
too.
don't even think the Patriots stand a chance with Bo Nix in there, to be quite honest with you. The kid's really smart. And a lot of it has to do because of his age. The motherfucker's like 27, 28 years old already, and he's only in his second season. But he played college football until he was 26 years old. Right? So the dude is a lot older than what people think. Like he's not your typical 22-year-old quarterback that just got drafted 2 years ago. No, this dude played college until he was 26 years old. So think about how much more time he's had, play time that he's had compared to a lot of other quarterbacks that are going into year two. He's got a lot of the mental side to it, and that's a lot of the reason why Sean Payton drafted him in the first place. right?
Yeah.
He eyeballed him. He knew he wanted to go for him because he knew that he could get past or probably didn't have to worry about some of those typical tendencies that you see out of a 21, 22, 23-year-old quarterback, you know?
Yeah.
So again, just something that he has. But moving on, like I said, Rams versus Seahawks. I think the big story in this one is that Charbonnet, right, is out with the torn ACL.
Yeah.
Um, and then there's just a lot of people that are questioning, Sam Darnold. So the Rams, the Seahawks, obviously in the same division. Okay, they play each other twice a year. They went 1-1.
Game
Okay,
of the year.
Rams got the better end of the stick the first go around. Seahawks got them second go around. That was our vote for game of the year this year. Was that second game when Seahawks won in overtime? And so the big question that everyone's kind of talking is what does Darnold need to do for the win? And so, in your eyes, what does he need to do? Because obviously his stats against the Rams is shit.
Yeah.
Everyone else he looks like Tom Brady or a Drew Brees or a Peyton Manning. But for whatever reason, with this Rams team, they have him figured out. And like his touchdown to interception ratio is just off the charts. Like it is his interception ratio is just insane. I think he's had like I think just within the Rams this season alone, he's thrown like 6 picks. And I
Yeah.
think he has like 8 on the whole season or something like that.
Yeah, that's insane. But I mean,
Yeah.
so just like the same talk we were talking about CJ Stroud, how he just needs to be average with that defense that he has, I think applies the same to Sam Darnold. He just needs to play average and protect the ball, right?
Yep.
Because just like you said, he has the most turnovers against that Rams defense, right? So he just needs to protect the ball and not do too much and be hero, right? Because he has that stout defense, right? So if they lose, it's gonna be on him if they lose. He's gonna be the reason
Hmm.
why they lose.
I
Right.
agree.
So it's and whether that pressure gets him or not, we don't know. We're about to find out. Right. But it's his game to lose because that's all he needs to do is just be average and protect that ball. Right. And he he doesn't need to force it, just let the game come to him. Right.
Hmm.
Because that's when he starts making those mistakes. Right.
Yeah.
But
No, 100%.
I'm taking the Rams over the Seahawks.
Nice. All right. All right. That's awesome, man. I think for Darnold, man, you kind of hit the nail on the head right there, right? It's like let the game come to him. When you look at the second game that they played, right? And I brought this up whenever they had this matchup, whenever we did the reactions, the Monday reactions or whatever. Um, the interceptions that he threw against the Rams, okay? Both times he threw the interception, they were showing blitz. And then post snap, they back out and they
Yeah.
drop into coverage, right? And that was the part that Darnold was struggling with. So clearly his his reads before the snap versus his post snap reads, he obviously has some sort of struggle with that, right? And understanding when they're going to come and when they're not going to come. So I think for him, your offensive line's pretty freaking good. Okay.
Yeah.
They're going to give you some time in that pocket. Okay. Take your time in the pocket. That would be what he, in my opinion, that's what he needs to do is take your time in the pocket and don't react to your throws so quickly. And I think that if he can be patient with that and let the play develop naturally on its own and don't rush your throws all day long, the Seahawks are just literally like whipping that ass. Because again, the defense is so stout. I think that they're going to be able to withhold a lot of some of these explosive plays that they're going to tend to get, or that the Rams tend to get, especially with Puka and gosh, why am I having a brain fart? Devontae
Adams.
Adams. Yeah, I mean, surefire receivers, surefire hands. I mean, those boys they don't drop too many passes. You know what I mean? But on the flip side to it, you got a receiver like JSN that can virtually get open on every single route he runs. You know, he was number one receiver for a reason this year. So um the Charbonnet thing, I don't see it as much as a loss as I think most people see it because you still have Kenneth Walker. And if you look at the way that Kenneth Walker was balling, brother, that boy cold. And so with that, I got the Seahawks taking this game. I got the Seahawks going to the Super Bowl. I got Sam Darnold winning the Super Bowl, no matter who they play, whether it's Broncos or Patriots. I got the if Seahawks go, Seahawks are winning it all. And Sam Darnold is going to resurrect his whole entire legacy from a guy that was seeing ghosts to a guy that's holding the most, the trophy, the Lombardi trophy, baby. Why are you looking at me like that, dog? Don't be giving me that reaction. Chat, you see this man?
Because it's like you're forgetting who the Rams got as their quarterback.
Brother, I don't care. He can
What do
still
you
lose
mean,
games. He can
bro?
still lose games, can he not? Did he go undefeated this year?
Did you see him play against the Seahawks this season twice?
Yeah. And what? So they went 1-1 on the season. So what's your point? Matt Stafford threw 457 yards on the second game and still lost.
Yeah, I know. So
So
you
are you
still
telling
have
me
that
that the
dog though.
Seahawks have no chance?
I'm not saying that they don't got no chance, but you're counting them. You're counting them out like they don't got no chance. You said the Seahawks are spanking that
How?
ass. You said the Seahawks are
Oh,
spanking that ass.
yeah. They'll
They're
spank that
not.
ass.
No,
Yeah,
they're not.
yeah,
No, they're not.
yeah.
You're you
Oh yeah,
on
oh
my
yeah.
break. You probably took something. You probably took something on my break when I disconnected,
I
brother.
mean, I'm not saying it's a blowout. So don't mistake me for that. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, it's like 35-14 or some stupid shit like that, you know, and the
You said
14 points
spank
that
that
they
ass.
score is in trash time. You know what I mean?
You said
So
spank that ass.
don't misunderstand me from that perspective. All I'm saying is that they're going to spank that ass. Seahawks are going to win the game. Okay. It might be like a 28-21, but just from the naked eyes, just from visual perspective, is like, God damn, Seahawks dominated this shit. That's what it's going to look like, in my opinion. Okay.
Nope, Matthew Stafford's gonna pick them apart. It's game time, baby. Playoffs, NFC Championship to go to the
Hey,
Super Bowl.
and one of us is right and one of us is wrong. Okay. And we'll find out next week. All right. That's the whole purpose of
But
this. You make your
and
predictions. You're not always going to be right and you're not always going to be wrong.
and it's see, and it's gonna happen too, right? It's gonna be the Rams versus the Patriots, right? Because you got MVP candidate versus MVP candidate, right?
Well, and
Obviously,
either which team who wins, both teams that are representing the NFC, one of those two teams is going to win the Super Bowl, regardless, no
yes,
matter what.
yes,
If the Seahawks go,
yes,
Seahawks are winning. If the Rams go,
yeah,
the Rams are winning the Super Bowl. It's as simple as
yeah.
that.
Yes, I
Simple as
can
that.
agree to that. Yes, I could definitely agree
Yeah.
to that. But it's gonna be
Yeah.
the Rams,
But
right? Because
don't
you got
sit here and say that I'm calling like Stafford trash or some shit, because that's what you made it sound like. You making it sound like as if I'm
bro,
calling Stafford trash, and that is not the case. Stafford is a
bro. You're
dog.
like,
He is going to be
yeah,
MVP. He's going to be
yes,
MVP.
and,
Okay,
and that's what
but
I'm
when you
saying.
get voted MVP, you oftentimes don't make the Super Bowl, and when you
Well,
do make the
it's
Super
Matthew
Bowl, you
Stafford too. We're
oftentimes
talking
don't
about
win.
it's Matthew Stafford. We're talking about
It
here,
is.
right? So it's
Well,
gonna
and
be
speaking of
MVP
that,
candidate.
speaking of Stafford, okay, let's get into this conversation since we want to bring up Stafford because I'm not bringing him up in a negative fashion. Okay. And this could be for the Rams, it could be for Stafford, it could be for McVay, whoever you want it to be. But that's what this question is about is what's at stake for the Rams in this game right here? Because you are 1-1, right? So this is the tiebreaker. You're meeting each other in the NFC Championship game. All the chips are on the table. You got all the marbles on the table. What you got, right? What's at stake for the Rams potentially in this game?
So I mean, as far as that question, like if it's like a McVay thing, if they see him leaving, no, it's not gonna be that.
No.
The only thing that I could see is Stafford's time. Like, how much more does he have in that tank to do another run like this, right? So that's the
Mhm.
only thing coming out of this. If they don't win, is like, man, how much more can he take? How much more can he do of that? That's the only concern going out if they lose, right? Because who knows if he could still make a push like that again? Because to me, I think they did it back to back. Even though the Eagles beat them last year in the divisional round, they almost beat them, right? So he obviously did it back to back seasons on this push to make it to the Super Bowl, right? Does he have another
Yeah.
one if they don't make it? So that's really the only thing I see if they lose. That's the only negative I see.
For me, I think it's about legacy. I think that's what's at stake, right? To your point, Stafford, how much time does he have left? Yes, you're right. But I look at, who's his longtime buddy? Who's his childhood best friend? Clayton Kershaw. Clayton Kershaw just retired, MLB, spent all those seasons in LA, won all those World Series, multiple Cy Young Award winner. But they win the World Series this past season, and Clayton Kershaw is retiring, right? He gets to go
Yeah,
out on top. Um, and I think that if the Rams go to the Super Bowl and they win, obviously, because like I said, whoever represents the NFC is winning. So if the Rams go to the Super Bowl, they're going to win. And so then it becomes a question of well, do I leave while I'm still on top? Right.
yeah,
Most likely he's going to, obviously in our eyes, he's the MVP of this season. So not only will you be the regular season MVP, but then you're going to go back to repeat another, you're going to go back to do another Super Bowl. You're going to win the Super Bowl. Chances are you're probably going to be the Super Bowl MVP because he didn't win it the first go around. Cooper Cup did. Okay, so that's the
yeah,
only thing he has left on his legacy chart to accomplish is getting a Super Bowl MVP and the MVP, which I think he can accomplish this season. Okay. Um, but again, that's for me again, that's it's legacy that's at stake going up against the Seahawks. Is how much are you putting in the tank on this game right here? Because this is going to define who you are long term, in my opinion, as a quarterback. Can you do it at this age compared to these young bucks?
yeah,
Can he still do it? And again, if he finishes out on top, that becomes a major question. Is hey, and then for McVay, this is what's crazy. Okay. For McVay, or this, let me start off first. For McVay, I feel like for him, it's also a legacy game for him too, because you're trying to build a dynasty. No one's talking about it, but you're trying to build a dynasty. That's what you're trying to do.
yeah.
Okay.
That he
You
has
look at
the.
his
I was gonna say
go ahead.
that doesn't he have the most postseason wins as a coach under 40 or something like that?
Um, I don't know, but his age is obviously coming into a factor. He's only 39 years old. Okay. At
Yeah,
39 years old, you've had 6 playoff berths, 2 Super Bowl appearances, and 1 Super Bowl title. Okay. But yet no one talks about you building a dynasty. Why? Because you've had 2 different quarterbacks. But at the end of the day, for what he's trying to do is he's trying to build that dynasty.
yeah,
And with Stafford or not, whether he chooses to stay or go, I would only have to say it's safe to assume that whoever's his next quarterback, which obviously Stetson Bennett is the backup, we don't know what he looks like, but I would have to assume that McVay's smart enough to make sure that, hey, I drafted this kid, I'm developing him while Stafford's still playing. I'm not just
yeah,
playing Stafford and forgetting about Stetson Bennett or anything like that. So he has to have, he's obviously working on a contingency plan if Stafford decides to kick the bucket, at which point you start the process all over again because Stetson Bennett's going to be on the lower half of 30, so he's going to be a younger quarterback or whatever.
yeah.
But then overall, his career, just in this is the part that's crazy to think about, is that in 5 years, at the current rate that he wins on average per season, just in 5 years, so he'll be 44 years old, he'll be in the top 20 most winningest coaches of all time. He'll be passing up
Jeez.
guys like John Gruden, Bill Cowher, Joe Gibbs, and he'll only be 44 years old. If he continues that rate to the time that he's 50, he'll pass guys like Tom Coughlin, Bill Parcells, Pete Carroll, Mike McCarthy, John Harbaugh, and Sean Payton, where they're at currently, because obviously John Harbaugh and Payton are
Right,
still coaching, right?
right.
But where they currently stand right now, in 10 years, that's where McVay is going to stand amongst the all-time winningest coaches. And you got to imagine some of
That's
these guys are 70 years old coaching. Pete Carroll's 74. John Harbaugh, I mean, he's not 70, he's 63 though. Sean
yeah,
Payton 62, right? These guys are old. This motherfucker's barely going to be turning 50, barely getting over the hill.
40,
And he's going to
40.
be, yeah, well, what I'm saying is at that time,
Oh, I got you. I got
in
you.
in a 10-year span from now, this dude's barely going to be turning the hill. And he's going to already be in the same conversation talks as some of these all-time great coaches like that. He'll be like in
Yeah,
10 years from now, he'll be like in the top 10 most winningest coaches. So
that's crazy.
it's just insane to think about how successful he's been
Yeah,
since he's came in the league as a head coach. But speaking of these head coaches, let's get into the head coaching carousel because boy, there
yeah.
is a lot to cover there, right? And maybe we'll try to make this fast. Maybe it might be a little bit longer than expected. Okay. But
We'll
Sean
see.
McDermott gets fired by the Bills. Your quick reaction, just a quick response. Did they fire the wrong person? Or
I
was
think
this the
yes,
right
they
thing to
fired the
do?
wrong person. I think they fired the wrong person. It should have been GM got promoted to, was it VP or something like that? I think it should have been
Yeah,
him
some stupid
because I
shit.
think yeah, because I think I heard something with his time as a GM. He drafted obviously he drafted a lot of players within his time, but he only two players that he drafted that are Pro Bowlers, which is Kincaid and I forgot the other person. But only two out of all the players he's drafted, only being able to draft two Pro Bowlers.
Yeah.
So
I
I
can
think they fired the wrong person.
understand I can understand why they got rid of McDermott because of obviously all the woos that have happened. So
Yeah.
it's justifiable. I just don't think that you fired the wrong guy first. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You should have
Yes.
fired the GM first, and then with the new GM that you picked, then mutually parted ways. I don't think that it should have came out on ESPN that they fired him. I think it should have been more of like a hey, we mutually parted ways type of thing. Because
Yeah.
dude, what he's done in Buffalo and completely changing that whole organization, yeah, you couldn't ask much more
Yeah.
for the guy. You know what I'm saying? So,
Well, I mean, and Sean McDermott was asking for more help during the season. Reports came out, but they I guess they thought they had number 17 on the team. That's all they needed, but obviously not.
right. Yep. Yeah, like I said, you could have had Waddle. You didn't pull the trigger on it.
Yep.
Didn't pull the trigger,
Yep.
and now you cost yourself. Anyways, Kevin Stefanski goes to the Falcons. Do you like this move?
I do because he's a great offensive mind coach. And I think they have a really great talented offense. They just need a right person for the job.
Well, I don't like this move. I think it was retarded. Just my personal opinion. Sorry if I can't say retarded on air. I'm going to say it again. I think it was a retarded move because he hasn't proven anything. You say he's a great offensive minded coach, but what has he done that's shown you that he's great offensive minded? He ran Baker out of the building.
The-
He couldn't get Deshaun Watson to be just an average quarterback. Your season 2 years ago when you made the playoffs, when you eliminated the Texans, and then you go on and get a or yeah, I think you eliminated the Texans, and then you get a. I'm sorry, you eliminate the Texans, then you get eliminated by the Ravens, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. Okay, but nonetheless, you relied on a 38-year-old quarterback to get you there. If it wasn't for him, you would have never even made the playoffs.
yeah.
You were not
That
making the
that
playoffs that year. So that's my thing.
yeah.
Then on top of that, you couldn't develop Dylan Gabriel. We all know what happened with the Shador Sanders thing. So in my eyes, what have you done that has shown me that you have the potential to be a great head coach? Because in my eyes, you haven't shown me anything.
Yeah, that's the only downside that I've seen. Well, I don't say only, but that's a downside that I see. He has during his head coaching tenure with the Browns, he's had 11 different starting quarterbacks, which
I
hasn't
think
been
it's
able to
more
do
like
nothing with
13. I think it's more like
or
13.
something like that. Um, and hasn't been able to really do much with them. But I think with this team, because you already have, I think, a good defense, and you just need someone to come in and change that offensive scheme with who you got. Right, you got Penix,
But here's the other thing too,
Robinson,
though.
Hicks,
Here's the other
London.
thing too, though. You had all those quarterbacks who all were a shell of themselves under your tutelage. But
Yeah.
you look at Baker Mayfield, he got better when he left your program. When you look at
Well, I wouldn't say he got better because the Rams and Panthers he did wasn't really performing till he got to the Bucks.
he really didn't get a chance. I mean, they had this dude lining up on special teams in Carolina. And then Baker comes through with the Rams, obviously on a 2-day notice, only knows 3 plays off the playbook because that's all he had time to study for. And so they ran those only 3 plays that they could run for him, and he leads them down the field on a game-winning drive. So that was the other. Tampa, he's gone to the playoffs since he's been there pretty much every single season except this year. And I mean, are you going to sit here and argue with me that Baker hasn't looked better than what it
With
was
the
shaping
Bucks.
out to be?
With the
Right, but I mean,
Bucks.
right, but again, with Carolina, how many games was he there? He's only there a few games before they traded him to the Rams, and the Rams he was only there for 1 game, that was it. So you can't really even justify those guys. You can't even justify those teams. It was more of him just going straight over to the Bucks. And when he lands on the Bucks, obviously he's able to produce some numbers. You know, but where have the
Nathan,
Cleveland outside of their playoff run with Joe Flacco went on that little crazy ass run? What have the Browns really done? And they still haven't found a
right.
replacement quarterback.
So he played with the Panthers 7 games and the Rams 5 games. So not 2 or 1, like you said.
Right. But did he how many games did he start with the Rams? He only started that one, and that was because he had to come in for an injured Matthew Stafford. So it wasn't like he played all 5 games for them. Did he?
Yeah, yeah.
I
He
could be
played.
wrong.
He started 5 games. He went for the Rams. He played the 5 games. He was 2 and 3.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, my bad.
Then the Panthers. He played 7 games. He did play 7 games. It doesn't give me the record though.
But
But
are
yeah,
you
he did play those.
again, are you seriously gonna sit here and say that he's a worser quarterback
He
since
lost
he's left the
6. He
Browns?
was he was 1 and 6 with the Panthers.
But we're talking about the Panthers
Uh,
here.
who just went to the wild card and put up a fight against the Rams? Yes, the Panthers.
Yes, but you're also talking a completely different team than it was 3 years ago.
No, I know, I know.
Right.
I'm
No, you
I'm
don't. I
pulling your
don't think
tail.
you do.
I
Okay.
do
I'm just
know.
making
I do
sure.
know.
I'm just making sure.
But but we're also talking about the Browns too, like you're saying. But he he didn't have a better career with the Rams or Panthers than he did in Cleveland till he got to Tampa Bay.
Right. But
That's
you
my
gotta
point.
understand you gotta understand that you're learning an offensive scheme. You're coming in mid-season, right? Learning these offensive schemes on the fly. You don't have an entire offseason to work it all out like he did with the Bucks. The Bucks, he had the entire offseason before he started for them, and it comes in and looks like a top 5 quarterback or top 10, whatever you want to
With
call it for the first 2 years. This year, he started off
with the
looking like a
Rams and
top
Panthers?
5. No, with the Buccaneers, brother.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Till he got to the Bucks. I'm not arguing that.
Right. But I'm just trying to get you to understand here is that are we really going to sit here and try to say that he's had a worser career? I'm trying to tell you that these quarterbacks have all gotten better by leaving your program. They've all gotten better. Why is it that under your
Who
program, people
who else
seem to
left this
regress?
program?
Well, and forgive me because I can't, I'm having a brain fart here, but quarterback that took over for Kyler Murray, Arizona. Help me out here. Chat, maybe you can
Brissett,
help me out.
Jacoby Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett. Okay, albeit he was the backup quarterback, but he comes into Arizona, takes over for Kyler Murray, and dude looked great. Joe Flacco still continues to do Joe Flacco's thing. I mean, it wasn't that long ago we were talking about this dude throwing for 450 yards with the Bengals. So again, what have you done to show us that you are one of the best offensive minded coaches? You
Now,
haven't
I'm
shown
not
us
calling him
anything.
best. Definitely not calling him best.
But
That's
you
for
said
sure.
he's one. You said he's one of the best offensive minded coaches. Did you not?
See what I put. I said he's a talent wise. I said he's a good offensive mind.
And so, in terms of that,
A good
where
offensive
does
mind coach.
good, best, where does that rank you?
Oh, that's totally different. That's totally different on good and best.
No, no,
Totally
no.
different.
That's what I said. Where does that rank you? I'm just
I'd
trying to make
say in
sure.
the
Let's
mid pack.
establish a baseline.
So
So
I'd
then
say
he's
good, but be like mid pack.
so he's a top half. Then is what you're saying.
I'd say he's in the middle.
But where? On the upper half or the lower half? There's two differences, right?
What do you mean? Right in the half. 32 teams, 16.
Right. 32 teams is
Half.
even. So you're either above or below,
16 would be right in the middle.
and he's there.
I'd say right in the middle. Because
I don't
he's
know,
right.
my dude.
He's in the half.
Let's revisit this conversation next season because I can guarantee the Falcons ain't going to be any better. And a matter of fact, I would be not surprised if the same situation that's going on in Atlanta, where they can't figure out who's going to be the quarterback, if the same, I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing's going on, and then they go through the same quarterback carousel that they're doing all over again. Because after next season, guess who's going to be due up for his 5th year option? Michael Penix.
See, and I think that's going to be a
And
big
for
narrative
sure, you're
because they
not going
are
to have.
going through a quarterback carousel right now, and they're
For
going to
sure,
try
you're
to
not
pin
going to
that
have
back
Kirk
on him.
Cousins. Kirk Cousins is going to go into next season on his last year of his contract. And if he still has whatever he has left in him and feels like he can be a starter, he's going to go somewhere where he can be a starter. So you can go ahead and bank on him leaving, and you're not going to extend Penix and sign Kirk Cousins all over again. You can't afford to do that because on top of that, you're
Yeah.
also going to have to extend out Robinson. And I don't know what the rest of the contracts look like for all their receivers and defensive players, but I imagine that they have contracts coming up too. So you're not going to be able to keep both quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins is going to leave, whether you like it or not. So now it's going to
Going
be
back to
back
the
on
Vikings.
Stefanski. It's going to be back on Stefanski to how do you develop your quarterback? And if Penix can't figure it out, then we're going to be having the same conversations all over again about whether or not how good Kevin Stefanski really is. And there's half of the world that thinks he's good like you do, and then there's half of the world that thinks he's ass like I do. And I'm going to keep siding with the people
No.
that are on my side because I feel very passionate about that this dude cannot develop quarterbacks like people think he can.
Yeah,
Because name
I
me
mean,
one
with the Browns, he
quarterback that he
definitely should
has
have got fired a
developed.
lot sooner.
Name me one quarterback that he's developed.
No, yeah, you're totally right,
Okay.
for sure.
All right. Moving on. Robert Sala to the Titans. How do you like that one?
I mean, it's hard, right? I mean, I know he's more of a defensive mind coach, but I think they needed someone to come in and develop their QB1, and Cam Ward. Now, granted, I know he probably doesn't call the offensive shots, but just historically, just what we've seen from his offense as far as the Jets, right? I know, granted, you get Aaron Rodgers, right? And he tears his ACL, or not ACL, Achilles. Second year, he's coming back from his torn Achilles, and you get what, Zach Wilson, right? Which is Zach Wilson, but Salah did draft Zach Wilson. Um, so I mean, it's kind of growing on me because maybe the philosophy is let's start on the defensive side of the ball first and hope that the QB1 can ball in the big leads. Is kind of what I'm seeing from them. So I mean, it's growing on me. Initially, I didn't like it, but maybe they want to start on the defensive side of the ball first,
Yeah, so I mean, they definitely
which
got the
I would
guy.
get to.
I think they definitely got the right guy for the job. But for Robert Saleh's sake, you're gonna need a hit on the OC for sure. You're gonna have to get yourself
Yeah,
like a very very good offensive coordinator. And I think that that's probably a lesson that I think that he's learned probably since his stint with the New York Jets and then obviously going back to the 49ers and maybe kind of picking the brain of Kyle Shanahan a little bit more this time around of understanding like, hey, how
right.
do you do this? Because year in and year out, right? When you look at Kyle Shanahan and you look at Sean McVay, what do they always hit on? They always hit on the OCs and they always hit on the DCs, no matter what, right? They
Yeah,
always get a hit on it. Even though, Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan are both calling the offensive plays, right? But they're hitting on OCs, especially defensively. They're getting great defensive coordinators. Now, you're a defensive minded coach, so you need to hit on the opposite side. You need to get yourself a very strong um, and well established offensive coordinator. And so I put on here just for my personal notes, right? Is that I think that Bobby Slowick is a potential candidate. And then I think that if he doesn't get a head coaching job, Cliff Kingsbury would be another good candidate, right? Cliff Kingsbury is emphatically known for being able to develop quarterbacks. That's what has always been his trait since college. Um, and so going into the big leagues, he's obviously gotten credited now for the Jaden Daniels situation. Obviously, Kyler Murray in the beginning, um, and then back when he was coaching over at Tech, and he was also the offensive coordinator for A&M in college with Johnny Manziel, right? And so that's what he's always been known for is for his ability to develop quarterbacks. What does Tennessee have? They have a young quarterback in Cam Ward who needs to be developed. Cliff Kingsbury could be your guy for
yeah,
that. Where I think Bobby Slowick comes into the situation is because I think right now he's like a passing games coordinator, and then why he would seem like a good candidate for the job is because of the situation that's going on in Houston, right? You have CJ Stroud that's regressing. Slowick got fired because they thought it was him. Well, clearly after this season, they know it's not. So
yeah.
maybe it's worthy of him getting the opportunity to get an interview for the offensive coordinator job. So, anyways, but yeah, nonetheless, I think it was the right hire. I like the move, and I think Salah's going to fit great with Tennessee. So now let's move on to my Dolphins. Jeff Halfley to the Dolphins, John Eric Sullivan as their new GM. Both of these guys came over from Green Bay. What are your thoughts?
I'm I'm like neutral about it because I don't think it's a coaching issue down in Miami. Right now, what are they going to do with the players that are the issue? Right, because a great offensive mind. Now I'm saying great. Okay, a great offensive mind coach didn't work. Right, and McDaniel. And a great defensive mind coach, another great, and Brian Flores didn't work either. So you had both ends of the table there, offense and defense. They both didn't work, right? So it's not a coaching issue, right? So it's are these guys going to be able to come in and clean house on what needs to be done, right? I think they are, hopefully, but for your sake, but um I don't think it's been a coaching issue this whole time. It's been definitely a player issue.
Well, obviously, this is a touchy subject for me, being that I'm a Dolphins fan. Okay. Um, but let me start with this real quick. Okay. And for those of you who don't know, okay, but the definition of insanity is what? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And that's where I'm going to go with this. Okay. Because that is literally the Miami Dolphins in a nutshell right now. They're just they're doing the same thing over and over again. Stephen Ross took over this team in 2009. Okay. And since then, he's hired 6 head coaches since he's taken over. That's the third most coaches within that span, only behind the Raiders and the Browns. And we all know what the situation is with those two teams. Okay. Jeff Halfley, right, even before Stephen Ross's time, will now be the 8th consecutive rookie head coach that the Dolphins have hired. And none of them have lasted more than 4 years. So when you sit there and talk about it's not a coaching problem, it's something else. It is a coaching problem, but it isn't. It's who you're hiring, right? Because
Yeah,
it's a culture issue that a rookie head coach doesn't know how to fix. Why? Because he's still trying to establish his culture. So he comes in as a rookie head coach. He's trying to first learn what it's like to be a head coach. Then, on top of that, he's trying to establish a culture change. But then the next guy moves on 4 years from now, right? And not all of them last 4 years. Some of them only lasted one, some of them lasted two, some of them lasted three. There's only been two that have lasted four. And so again, when you have that much of a turnover on your coaches, what culture do you have? Do you think that these players are going to listen to anything that this guy has to say? A first rounder that gets drafted will likely have a different head coach on the same rookie contract by the time that contract is over. You could argue that in some cases, a rookie that got drafted by the Dolphins could potentially go through 3 different coaching changes all within that rookie contract time. And so, what that means as a player is that I don't know if that next guy coming in, if he's even going to like me because I'm not the one that he chose. This other coach chose me, not
yeah.
him. And that's the problem. There's no consistency with these coaches. They're not given enough time. Now, what needs to happen is they need maybe this could change, maybe it can't, but I'm predicting based on history over these past 8 coaches that you have hired now that a rookie head coach still isn't going to be able to get it done. And that's my problem. You need to hire someone who is established, a veteran head coach. You could have gone out and pursued a John Harbaugh, right? If you'd have waited long enough, now you could have went and gone and pursued a Sean McDermott. I would love to see Sean McDermott come out to Miami and change the culture. He was able to do it in Buffalo,
I definitely.
who was
I don't
who
think
was
he'd go to
losing.
Vision.
I'm just saying hypothetically, right? I know it's a divisional
Yeah.
rival, but at the end of the day, it's a head coaching opportunity, right? Now, again, I would have loved to see somebody like that go over there because you need somebody that can change the culture of an organization. And when you hire rookie head coaches, it's a hit or miss opportunity. It's a 50-50 shot on whether you hit or miss. And
Well,
over the
they
past
they
8
they
times,
definitely.
you've missed.
Well, I think they hit on Brian Flores. They just let him go because the whole situation there.
No, they didn't. I don't think they hit on Brian Flores, to be honest with you, because even Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's gone out. on publicly and stated that when he came in, you know, trying to make the culture shift, right? Trying to turn a losing organization into a winning organization. And at first, he was getting it, but then even Ryan Fitzpatrick told the public, he was like, "Man, but just after the first or second year, whatever, it just became he just started to alienate himself from the people. You know, it became about him and not about the team. And so then he started mishandling relationships. And so as much as the in the beginning when he got fired and we hear all this stuff from Tua talking about he was rude to him and disrespected him, didn't want him, didn't see him as a franchise quarterback, right? So everyone immediately
Wasn't
turned
wrong.
face towards well, everyone immediately turned face on Flores because obviously the following year McDaniels lights it up with Tua, right? And so everyone had that misunderstanding about Flores, and then obviously as it's gone on, that story has changed in terms of Tua, but it's never changed among Brian Flores because the story that the players were having about Brian Flores was that he was alienating himself from the players. He was becoming an asshole to the players. That story has never changed. Now our perception of Tua has changed, but not of what he did, not from what the players are talking about from Flores's side. Does that make sense? Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
I think I'm saying that
No,
right.
I mean, I definitely
Um,
get what you mean.
yeah, and then obviously there was the whole thing with the lawsuit, that there was, that he was being forced to lose games and being paid out for losing games. He was being incentivized to lose games and all this other shit. And so there's obviously been a whole different thing. And Brian Flores may have redeemed himself over these past couple of seasons with Minnesota, but nonetheless, again, you're still coming, it's these rookies head coaches that are constantly coming in here, and every single one of them has a different culture they want to establish. But it's hard to establish that with a rookie head coach because there's always going to be that doubt that players have, especially veterans.
Yeah.
Veterans that are concerned, like, hey, dude, like I'm on the back end of my career and I'm trying to make sure that whatever it is that you're trying to reinforce here, I'm trying to make sure that I'm still going to be taken care of at the same time. And so there's always like that pushback that I think that players are giving towards these coaches. And so if I'm Stephen Ross, it's like, dude, I got to look at what I'm doing here and realize that the way that I've been recruiting these head coaches it's not working out for me. I always hire, whether it's
Yeah.
offense or defense, I always hire a rookie head coach on my team. And when has it panned out since I've been the owner of the Miami Dolphins? When has it panned out? It hasn't. You haven't won any playoff games. I think you since that span, you've only made the playoffs twice. You've been eliminated both times in the first round. One of the seasons you had to go in with the backup quarterback, so you really didn't stand a chance there. So it's like, come on, dude. You gotta do something different, man. You gotta go against the grain. Every now and again, you gotta go in against the grain. Go out and get yourself an established head coach. I don't think this Jeff Halfley thing is gonna work out. Just being honest with you.
Same repetitive thing that you've seen.
It's yeah. It's gonna be the same repetitive thing. I guarantee you, probably next year, we're gonna have like I don't know, an 8-9 season or a 7-10 season. We'll be the laughing stock of the NFL. We'll be dead last in the NFC. Or I'm sorry, in the AFC East. We'll be dead last. Like just everything. Like it's just not gonna look good. Not to mention we got to figure out what you're gonna do with Tua. That's the other battle of the whole picture there. What are you going to do with Tua? What are you going to do with Quinn? Do you just completely unload and retool? Are we going to do that shit all over again?
I mean,
It's crazy,
might as
bro.
well.
Well, I mean, that's most likely what's going to happen, but that's what I'm saying is like, dude, how many times are we going to do this before you figure it out that you can't rebuild and retool a whole team with the rookie head coach? You got to do it with someone who's done it
Mhm.
before, not with the rookie head coach, with an established head coach. You got to do it with one of those guys because they've been through the process. So they know how to weather the storm better than what a rookie head coach can be.
Yeah.
These, I mean, dude, Halfley's walking into a fucking disaster, bro. He's walking into a disaster. He's walking into what most likely is just murky water with players and the front office. You got players that probably are not bought into what the front office is doing. On top of that, you're trying to establish your own culture, your own system that now they have to relearn. McDaniel's had a complicated system as it was. And so it's like now they're going to have to basically forget everything that they've been learning for the last 4 years and start all over again. And man, I can assure you, I mean, I've never played professional ball before, never am going to play professional ball, but I can assure you that as a player, that's probably one of the things that they hate the most is having to constantly learn new playbooks over and over and over again. And especially, it's one thing to do it when you're winning.
Jalen Hurts.
It's one thing to do it when you're winning. It's another to do it when you're losing. And I bet that the losing side of it sucks the absolute worst.
Oh yeah. And I think we talked about it before. Jalen Hurts going on his seventh or eighth offensive coordinator, and
Yeah.
it's his eighth or seventh year, something like that.
Yeah.
Crazy. All different play callers.
But on the flip side, he has had the same coach. He's had some sort of continuity within there, you know,
Yeah.
with Nick Sirianni. Now I know there was who was it, Doug Peterson before him or whatever it
Uh,
was.
yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, I think Doug is the one that drafted him, no?
Yeah.
So I think there was that first year that he was in the league that they had Doug Peterson. They obviously fired him. Nick Sirianni comes in, and then I think Jalen Hurts starts the following season right afterwards. But again, he's had at least that consistency throughout. With the Dolphins, bro, it's new regime all the time. New head coach, new OC, new
Yeah.
DC every single time. So it's a whole entire complete rebuild, restructure, retool, re everything. Crazy, bro. And even with that being said, right? Obviously, we just went through a lot of those teams right there that just picked up on their teams. Bro, there's still teams without a coach. Arizona Cardinals, Ravens, Raiders, Browns, Steelers, Bills. There's a lot of teams that don't have coaches. But in your eyes, who are you kind of most I guess intrigued about?
As far as like what's left.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the Bills and the Ravens become the I think between Buffalo, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh, those should be the three most targeted head coaching positions. I know Joe Brady is actively pursuing any head coaching job he can find.
Well,
But
and
obviously with the Bills mix up,
he's
he
he's
he he might be candidate number
he
1.
should be front runner. Yeah, he should be front runner for that.
Yeah.
I think for the Bills. But I mean, out of all of them, I think the one that's most intriguing is the Ravens.
Okay.
With who you have on that team,
Yeah.
as far as talent wise. So I
Yeah,
think
yeah, for
that's
sure.
but that going to that team, you're going to be put under a microscope to see if you could execute with that team. That's the only downside. You have this great team. Can you do something with this great team?
Yeah, the
So
expectation is that you
it's
go to the
gonna
Super
it's gonna
Bowl.
be right, which because that was their expectation this year, right? So
Yeah.
that's still gonna be the expectation going into next year. So
Mhm.
that's definitely the best one as far as talent, but they're definitely gonna have a lot of eyes on them for sure. So that's tricky.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, I would have to agree. I think, Baltimore obviously is if I had to rank them, Baltimore would be number 1 for all the reasons that you said. But I think with Buffalo now, um, coming into the mix of needing a head coach, I think that Buffalo trumps Pittsburgh because Buffalo already has an established quarterback. With
Yes.
Pittsburgh, you don't know who the quarterback
Yes.
is,
Oh,
and so
right.
that's the biggest thing there. And on top of that, you have an old defense and you have the highest paid defense, and you're not the number 1 defense in the league.
Yeah.
So there's a
Yeah.
lot of
They're old.
question marks there for that head coach. Is like, hey, how are do you feel as though that you can coach his team? And if so, on top of that, who are we going to draft? That probably too is a lot of head coaches um question marks. Is like, hey, who are we going to um who are we going to put at quarterback? That's obviously the big question mark that a lot of coaches are going to have most likely.
Yep.
And if they don't have an answer, you can offer the job all day long, doesn't mean that somebody's going to take it, especially when there's options like
Right.
Buffalo and Baltimore on the table still. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
there's teams that have younger players. Again, your defense is aging. They're getting older. What is Hayward, like 56 years old? I mean, I'm joking, obviously, right?
97,
But
like his jersey number.
yeah, I mean, bro, motherfucker's got gray hair all over him. Dude looks like he's one hot
Yeah.
dog away from fucking falling over on the D line. Like, brother, I saw that dude get flopped on the
Oh man.
ground. I saw him get flopped on the ground against the Texans, and that dude was like trying to like roll to get up. Like he was like, you know how like when you got to build that momentum to kind of get your body up? It's like, boy,
Yep, to get up. Yeah.
like brother. And then his cleats looked like they were just begging for mercy for a second there. I was like, holy shit, that's a big boy. I mean, hey,
Oh
nothing
shit.
against
That's
him,
funny.
man. He's easily probably going to end up becoming a Hall of Famer for sure. I got nothing
Oh
against it, but it's like, man, dude,
yeah.
at some point, brother, you got to hang it up, man. You know what I mean? You're costing us a lot of money, and there's some other players that are younger than you that can be just as efficient. You know what I'm saying? Um, anyways, on top of
Mhm.
that, man, there's also coordinators, dude. Check this list out: Chargers, Tampa Bay, Commanders, Cowboys, Raiders, Jets, Giants, and the Eagles. They're all in need of either an offense or defense coordinator, and in some cases, they need both. Now, obviously, I think the Chargers is going to get taken off. They fired Greg Roman. There was reports that came out earlier before we started the show from Adam Schefter that Mike McDaniels is expected to get signed by the LA Chargers to become their next offensive coordinator.
Oh man,
Yeah, so that's going to
that
be
hurts.
that'll be a good pickup for LA. And I think that's a great
Yeah.
landing spot for a guy like Mike McDaniels. I truly think that he would flourish better in Detroit, but they interviewed him in Detroit and they ended up hiring somebody else.
Yeah. That'd
Um,
uh,
and
they
honestly,
said
like
not.
I don't think that relationship would have worked out so well with Dan Campbell. You know, Dan Campbell he's aggressive. You know what I mean? And I don't think that's
Yeah,
the
they're like
route that
two opposite
McDaniels.
sides.
Yeah, and so when I look at
Yeah.
the personality of a Jim Harbaugh, who half the time to me doesn't make sense in his press conferences. And then I look at Mike McDaniel, who definitely doesn't make any sense in his press conferences. I'm like, okay, I can see the relationship kind of flourishing, right? Neither one of them know what the fuck they're saying half the time, or at least we can't interpret what the fuck they're saying half the time. Maybe they understand each other, right? So, albeit, but hey, hats off to Mike McDaniel's brother. Hey, you should have gotten another year in Miami. That's just my personal opinion. I think that what they did towards the end of the season, he really showed how he can still, keep a team together even when the going gets rough. I think he definitely earned the right to coach another season in Miami. But you know what, man? Ross does what Ross does, and you weren't gonna last past 4 seasons even if you won a Super Bowl. Damn near. So he would have figured out a way to fuck it all up too. So, brother,
Yep.
I wish all the best to you, man, and watch out. Watch out, LA, man, because they're gonna come in. He's gonna come in hot, man. Herbert's gonna fucking absolutely love
I think
his system, I think.
I think so too.
Yeah. But yeah, man, Tampa Bay's in need of an offensive coordinator. Commanders, they're in need of both. Well, actually, they hired an OC, David Blau. But they're in need of a defensive coordinator. They fired Joe Witt Jr. Cowboys, obviously, they fired Eberflus, so they need a DC there. Vegas, who the fuck are they gonna do? What or who the hell are they gonna hire? They need everything. They need a head coach, an offensive coordinator, and a special teams coordinator. Can you imagine being the DC in Vegas right now, and you're the only one that got left? You're the only one that got to keep your job.
Oh
It's like that
man,
Homer
that's
Simpson
yeah.
meme, man, where he's like he kind of like hides back in the
Goes at the
bush,
bush.
like yeah, like I'm just gonna kind of get away. Y'all motherfuckers, or y'all are all getting fired. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I'm gonna kind of hide behind this bush. Maybe they won't see me.
yeah.
My God. But the Jets, I mean, they
yeah,
fired their defensive
they
coordinator. I'm sorry. Last I checked, wasn't Aaron Glenn a defensive minded coach? And you fire your defensive coordinator?
yeah.
Make that make any sense? You're the one who
And
brought him in the first
Steve Wilkes
place.
at that.
And Steve Wilkes at that. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Steve. I was gonna say Steve. Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what, bro?
Yep.
So you're gonna blame him on the fact that your team never got a single interception in the entire season? I thought you were the defensive minded coach, were you not? Pretty sure you
Yep.
were. So why are you pointing the finger at someone else? Just
Dog.
saying. Just saying. Hey, every season that Robert Sala
Yep.
was there, albeit the offense kind of was trash, his defense never sucked. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. His defense was really good.
He always had that
Yep.
defense on lock. And every single season he was there, they would always say he's a quarterback away. He's a quarterback away. They get Rodgers, obviously the Achilles tears, everything turns to shit the season after, and we all kind of know how it plays out. The Jets do Jets things. I mean, those guys literally will destroy generations. I mean, can you imagine, dude? They got kids. They got kids there. I know you've seen some of those post game. I mean, this poor little 6-year old or whatever he was, 12-year-old. He's just like, yeah, they sucked all my life. They're probably going to suck the rest of my life too. You know, my dad is 80 something years old. They sucked his whole life too. Like, my God, bro, you got generations of family that have gone on. They're on third and fourth generations of their family and they still suck. So, brother, I mean, I'm with you because the Dolphins ain't much better, but shit, I'm about ready to jump off
Yeah,
this motherfucking train, dog. Like, holy shit. You got those people, man. They just
bro. The people still hanging
the
on to the
faithful,
Jets is
dog.
crazy.
The faithful, bro.
Yeah,
I
talk
just
about
think
the
that
faithful. Talk about the faithful, man.
they just dude, honestly, bro, like they probably need just like a rebranding. I feel like they just need to get rid of the Jets logo. They need to rename themselves. I definitely like the Gotham City look. I think that honestly they should go with something like that. Their rivalry jerseys, their Gotham City rivalry jerseys. I think that they could
Uh,
hit on something like that. Now, obviously, I don't know that that would fare well with. I'm sure there's like some copyright issues with Marvel and Disney and whatever, but the NFL is affiliated with Disney now.
DC,
Or oh, it's DC. That's my bad.
DC.
My bad. My bad. Uh, well, so then you got to deal. I mean, you got to deal with Netflix then. Netflix bought out Warner Brothers. Last time I checked, isn't Warner
Yeah,
Brothers affiliated with DC? And you're obviously in bed with
yeah.
Netflix because you play your games on there on Christmas Day. So there you go. Maybe they can work out some sort of trademark deal, but I think maybe a rebranding in New York would be really cool and a color change. I don't think nobody really likes that fucking green. That gaga green. That's what I call it. It's gaga green. It's not even a good green. Yeah. That's the kind of green like when you
Oh
look in
man.
the commode and you see that color green shit, you're like, ugh, flush, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean?
Flies. I can't hate on it too much because my team has green.
Yeah, but yours is like a forest green.
Midnight,
And then their off
midnight.
color is the Kelly green, which
Think
is
it's like,
amazing.
yeah, the Kelly Green's fire.
Yeah, Kelly green's sick as fuck.
Kelly Green's pretty fire.
But I mean, if you're the Jets, outside of your
Yeah.
Gotham City jerseys, what do you have? You look like ass. I'm sorry, but I
Hold on,
just
look,
don't
let me show you.
find
Let me
their
show you.
I don't find their jerseys attractive. Ugh. Why do you have one? Is it a
Because I
throwback
thought it
at
was gonna
least?
be Rogers last season.
Is it Mitchell and Ness at
No, it's not.
least?
That was $20.
Oh, so
No,
you got
it's
it off the side of the road.
Nike.
You got it off the side of the road. You got it off of Marbach,
No, it
didn't
was
you?
when he left Marbach. No, I got it off NFL Shop. It was $20, and it's the stitched one. I was like $20 for a Rogers jersey. Okay,
Interesting. I mean, if you're putting it up for memorabilia, it
I
is
had
what
to
it
give me a
is.
Rogers jersey.
Yeah, if you're putting it up for memorabilia,
Yeah,
then
I've
I'm all
never
right
worn it.
with it.
It's 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 purely for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, single digit Rogers was not the same as double digit
That's
Rogers,
it.
bro. If that boy plays
Oh
another
yeah, no,
season, he needs to go to a
different.
team that ain't got 12 retired. I'm sorry. But you rocking 8 ain't working for you. You need to go back to 12, pimp. And don't tell me that there's not a thing with numbers. Trust me, there is.
Yeah.
There's just something about the number that you wear
Oh
that
yeah.
just solidifies your existence. And I'm sorry, bro. Rogers is 12 all day. You should have never gone to 8, but I
Oh
get it. 12 is
yeah. 12.
12 is retired in New York, and 12 is also retired in Pittsburgh. So he kind of had no choice. But for me, I think about stuff like that.
Perk Rogers number 12.
Yeah, Rogers is 12 all day. He needs to be
Yeah,
12. If he plays another season, like I said, he needs to go to 12.
for sure.
So,
Shit.
anyways, folks, well, that's about it for
You're
now.
you're on the Jets. Well,
Huh?
well, you didn't finish it. You finished on the Jets. You still got the Giants and the Eagles.
Oh, brother, we weren't going to have to go through all of them, but we can. I mean, so the Giants, okay, they fired Shane Bowen mid-season, but obviously they just brought in Harbaugh, which right now is believed to be that he's also going to try to get Todd Munkin to join him. However, Todd Munkin is also interviewing for head coaching positions. And so, depending on whether or not somebody hires him for head coaching positions, that'll obviously make a big decision on him because you have to assume that the new head coach coming into Baltimore, chances are he's going to want to bring his own coordinators because it's going to be an established head coach. I highly doubt that
Yeah.
Steve Biscotti brings in a rookie head coach to coach his elite team.
Yeah.
I highly doubt that. He seems like a very strategic, methodical man. Did you listen to his press conference? Boy, I would hate to piss him off.
Yeah.
I would, dude, he was a
Oh
dog.
yeah.
He
Dude,
was a dog in
he
there. I
seems
was
like one of
like,
those
oh,
guys.
I was
Yeah.
like, damn.
Yeah.
I was like, boy, Lamar, dude, you don't, if you play like shit next season, bro, your ass is gone. That's what
Yep.
Steve's basically saying is like, let me find out that it wasn't hardball the whole time. Let me find out that it was you, boy.
Your
Yeah.
ass is grass.
Your ass is grass, brother. Yeah. I'm gonna send you to the Browns. I don't give a shit. I'll play you twice a year.
Oh shit.
And then lastly,
Send you
so
to the Falcons.
The Eagles fired Kevin Patullo, obviously after the 49ers lost in the postseason. So has there been any word on who they're getting? Nothing, huh?
Nope. But they fired him. They fired him 40 hours too late. 48 hours too late. I don't, I don't know how they don't fire him right after they wait 48 hours. Crazy,
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like the
crazy to
24-hour
me.
rule. You ever heard of the
And
24-hour rule?
I mean, they didn't give Raheem Morris 24 hours.
Bro, they didn't give him 24 minutes. They didn't give him 24 minutes.
Yeah.
But shit, bro. But that's just how they work, man. But
I
yeah,
mean,
the 24-hour
but
rule, if you don't know, now you'll know, is that, if in any given sports that you play, right, parents are always instructed to wait 24 hours before you let out your frustration on the coach, right? Because obviously tensions are high. These games get real crazy and they get heated and intense because they're always close. And those are always the ones that give the most heartache to everyone, especially when you lose. And so, as a coach, you always ask your parent, hey, parents, we know you're going to be upset at times when the games don't go our way. Maybe there's some bad officiating. Maybe there's just some bad play on our kids or whatever the case may be. Don't talk to me for the first 24 hours. Let your emotions kind of calm down and kind of sit there and sit and marinate in your thoughts for 24 hours. And if after those 24 hours you still feel like your word needs to be addressed, then at that point, then you can call me or you can reach out via text or you can see me at the next practice and we can talk about it then face to face. And then you can vent out your frustrations to me. But at least that way the initial rage is all gone. And then we can sit here man to man and let's
true.
talk man to man instead of talking through emotion. Does that make sense? And that's the 24-hour
I can
rule.
see that.
So maybe that's why they did it, right? They were pissed off that they lost and said, "You know what? Let me sit on this for 24 hours and see how I feel." Well, 48 hours later, they still felt like shit and said, "Fuck you, you got to go." That's what
Uh,
they said.
should have happened mid-season at least.
Yeah. But anyways,
Man. But
let's wrap it up, man. This has been our longest show of all time, 2.5 hours. Definitely didn't think it was going to be this long, but we definitely went off on that first
ease.
topic
Yeah.
a little too long. 45-minute topic on the first go around wasn't our best sense of time, sense of workflow. We got to get better at that, Cisco. Jesus Christ. On the flip side, man, in case if anyone's
we
wondering,
do. We
obviously
do.
Loop has not been on the show for these last couple of times, but he is still in touch with us. Still expect him to be back at some point. But man, let's give him a huge shout out, brother, because um, today he texted me and said, "Man, dude, I'm about to have the biggest hit of my life." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "I'm I have to go open the shop tonight at 9 because I have to bring in a McLaren and do a tent job on a McLaren." And I said, "Oh shit, all right." He goes, "Yeah, and guess who it's for?" And I said, "Who?" He goes, Rico Dowdle from the Carolina Panthers."
Dang. Still over
Dude,
there in the Dallas area, huh?
yeah, still doing
Dang.
business in the Dallas area, bro. Bought himself a McLaren up there in Dallas and is having it dropped off over at Loop's tent shop. And he's going to be kind of taking the reins on that and getting that tent job
Roll
and all
on.
the PPF and everything
Yeah.
like that put on that McLaren, bro. I said, dude, you better get yourself a picture. Better get yourself an
Wow.
autograph. You better overnight ship a fucking Carolina's Panthers jersey. Don't do a Cowboys jersey. Do a Panthers jersey because that's where I'm over cooked. He cooked this
Yeah.
past season,
Yep.
right? So I was like, dude, you better get that, dude. So, anyways, shout out to Loot, man. We love you. We miss you, bro. I know you're doing out. I know you're out there doing big things and trying to get yourself right and get yourself better over there for you and your family, man. So, um, can't wait to have you back on the show, dude. So, for real. But anyways, man, to everyone else, thank you guys for tuning
Yeah.
in. We had quite a bit of a following today, man. So we appreciate you guys. Seriously, thank you so much for just tuning in, whether it's for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 30 minutes, or the whole show. We really appreciate it. Um,
10
we will
seconds.
see you guys, yeah, or 10 seconds. We don't really care, man. All publicity is good publicity, right? Whether you love us or
Yep.
you hate us, man, we're just glad that you're here. We may not always be right with our takes. We might not always be right with anything that we say, but you know what? Again, we just want to make this platform, for everyone who just loves the game of football, loves maybe sports in general. Maybe you got some topics on your mind that you kind of want to get off of your chest, and maybe some feelings that you have towards a player, a person, a team, something of that nature. But this is definitely the platform to do it with. You can tune in with us live, and you can chat straight off of YouTube. There's no membership cost for subscriptions or anything of that nature. So feel free to just subscribe, hit the notifications bell, that way you get notified anytime we go live, and touch on some topics that we're talking about. Maybe give off your personal opinion. We'll share them live as they come through on the show, and we're just happy to hear from you. Cisco, you got
Yeah,
anything before we head out?
and even in topics where it's not about sports. Yeah, yeah. Even topics that aren't about sports, it could be about anything and everything. We're definitely open to conversation about a lot of different topics and things. So feel free to shoot whatever is on your mind or whatever. It doesn't have to be about sports, like I said. So getting that following and the interaction that we've seen. So that's definitely awesome. It definitely makes it fun to interact with you guys live. It definitely makes it for a better experience for us and hopefully for you guys too. So, but thank you guys again for showing up.
Yep. And then obviously we've kind of started this podcast just kind of primarily talking about football because I mean that's in our opinion that's the best sport around right now. That's the best sport ever. And so but
Yeah.
just because the season's coming to an end here within the next few weeks, that doesn't mean that the show has to stop. So the show's going to keep going. We'll probably be looking at doing a rebrand um, of the whole platform just to kind of gear it up for the off season. And just as Cisco kind of touched on, is that we'll be touching other topics outside of sports. Obviously, stay tuned for that because we got some ideas and we got some plans for the off season. And so we hope to see you guys there. And again, thank you guys for all the likes, all the comments, and all the shares that you can give us. We appreciate everything. With that said, we'll hopefully see you guys Friday night, and then I don't know, maybe we might be able to find some time to do something in Detroit. I don't know. I
I
don't
will
know. But yeah, you got the Bet Boys that are
see.
gonna be coming over
We'll see.
to Detroit, Michigan next week. And so depending on time and internet connection and everything like that, man, who knows? Maybe we might do a live episode from Detroit. So anyways, guys, we'll see y'all. We'll let y'all know. We'll keep y'all updated. And like I said, we'll see you guys Friday, okay?